You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome into the program. Hope everybody's having a very good Friday as we get ready for the final high school football game for the Tigers this week. We should have Tularosa football next week. They're playing for a district championship tonight, and we got state playoff soccer tomorrow at the stadium. It's going to be a fun weekend across the Tularosa Basin and the extending area. Manny from Charles Garland and Harris Agency. Manny, how are you today?
Well, good morning, everybody. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day in the Basin. How can you not be in a good mood today?
Absolutely. It is wonderful out there. Brian Smysett from First National Bank just telling us how well the cornhole tournament went last weekend, and things I'm sure going well over at First National.
Oh, they're going awesome over there. Yeah, the tournament turned out well. Everybody was very well behaved. Great sportsmanship was going on, and it was just a great time to be had for all. And it was awesome. So
always challenging when it's competitive, you know.
Oh yeah, especially when there's money on the line. But
Yeah.
everybody was really good, and the people who ran the tournament did a really great job. We had a couple of employees from the bank, and they did a really great job. So
all right,
it was good. It was good.
Brandon Burling from Desert Sun Auto Group going to be along with us shortly. I believe Timothy Brock from Christ Community Church will be here with us. Jake Roberts from Caldwell Banker Sudworth Nelson is out today. We do have most of his picks. I did see he didn't pick the Tennessee-Dallas game, so I'll have to text him and get that. But should be a fun week in the standings overall. Good week for myself and Jake, 13-3. So made a little bit of ground up on Brian and Tim, not a ton, but just got to keep it kind of close towards the end of the season. Then anything can happen when we get towards the end. Tim didn't have a bad week, went 11-5. Brian and Manny both 10-6, and Brandon 9-7 last week. So not too bad at all. See, Brandon was worried he wasn't going to get here on time. He's all right. What's up, buddy?
Hello, everybody. How are we doing this happy Friday? Falls in the air morning.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Happy to have you here, man. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Okay.
Doing great. You know, it's November, and a little step closer to the holiday season, and sadly, kind of coming to an end of our football season. But
Yeah.
we still have some college and some pro that will continue on, I'm sure. But
We might just have to roll into basketball and hockey. We'll just keep the show rolling.
You never know. All right, let's get on with this week's picks. Artesia visits Alamogordo. Final game of the season for the Tigers. This is, Artesia needs this win tonight. I mean, it's a game that they need to have. And, I continue to talk about the Tigers hopefully playing the fly in the ointment in some of these games. And, hey, it was 21-14 in the second quarter last week against Roswell. The Tigers have shown improvement against these really good teams. And it's, the district is still 1-2-3 with Goddard, Roswell, Artesia as the top three teams in the state of New Mexico in Class 5A. So the Tigers have definitely had an exceptionally tough schedule. Doesn't get any easier tonight, and well, it's Artesia. We would certainly love to be that fly in the ointment tonight. I'm sure the Tigers would be. Manny?
Well, I've stayed with the Tigers all season long. It's been a long season, but you're right. I have seen some improvement from week to week. And I've followed the away games, listening to your voice, and you do a great job on the call, and I've been to all the home games. And I'm disappointed for the kids, but I'm not disappointed in the kids. And for the record, I'm going to stay with the Alamogordo Tigers in what would be an amazing upset against the Artesia Bulldogs.
Certainly would be. Brian?
Yeah, I was out in Artesia yesterday. I spent the day out in the community, and it's pretty much a consensus that Artesia is going to come in here and beat us. So I'm going to take their advice and go with Artesia.
Yeah, it would be one of the big shocks I think I've seen for area sports in a long time if Alamo gets the win tonight. But hey, hopefully the seniors will go out there and have a good game and be competitive tonight. I think that's what we're all hoping. Brandon?
This is a question probably day back that Manny can answer. How many times has Alamogordo ever beaten Artesia?
None recently, but we've only started playing them recently.
Again, recently.
And so my memory bank doesn't go that far back.
I just didn't know if how you have some kind of not preseason, but some off-district games. I don't know if in the past, and I just don't remember ever us that I can remember ever beating Artesia. So, which says a lot for their program. I mean, it's
I think they didn't play from like the 80s until we started about 5-6 years ago. Started playing them again, so it would have to be back in the 70s or 80s if it did happen. And
that's why I was dating back to the Stone Age here with Manny.
You have been on this show about as long as I've been alive, so that's it's a fair point.
I'm gonna go Artesia. I just think they're the better program. I'll be rooting for the Tigers all night long. I would love to see nothing more than the Tigers to get this upset, just to kind of capitalize on a down season. But I'll be rooting for the Tigers all night long. But I think Artesia's got the upper hand on it.
Man, what were you gonna say, man?
I was just gonna say he was trying to date me, and I'm just saying, I'm too old for women to care and too young for Medicare.
Okay. That's a good line. Tim, what's up, buddy?
It's a zinger. Yeah. Sorry I was late. I feel like I'm all over the map, but I'm glad that I landed here for an hour, about 45 minutes, because I was so late. I was hoping I'd beat Brandon. I was listening to the show. I was like, all right, I'm not the only one late. But I'm the latest because I guess Jake's not coming at all.
I ran into traffic. That was my excuse.
Yeah, heavy traffic in Alamogordo on Fridays. Well, I'm glad you're here, Tim, because I really, my season has not gone that well with Tigers and with the Raiders, but I do like to come here because it's just a comedy hour with you and Jake. And it's a lot of fun for me.
I don't know who my joke buddy's going to be. Yeah, well, I am kind of cheating on you, Brandon, but it's the more the merrier to love. It's been a really fun year. I do enjoy the camaraderie in this group. Just to pick this game real quick, I am proud of the Tigers. It's when you lose, and I'm sure Manny's feeling that with the Raiders, you're going to wonder when that thing's going to implode over there in Oakland. But when you lose, it's hard. It's hard to keep a locker room. It's hard to to keep showing up. And it seems like the Tigers actually not only show up, but they seem to be getting better. I mean, I heard from you last week about the Roswell game. So I am proud of the spirit, the coaching staff being able to keep those guys engaged. So proud of the Tigers, but Artesia, man, they're tough. And I love that we play Artesia. You guys mentioned how we haven't played them, at least in my childhood, my young adult life. So when I saw them back on our schedule, and we're in their district, at least for a short term, it's exciting that Alamogordo gets to host and gets to see an Artesia team live. It's cool.
Yeah. And Artesia's had, from their standards, probably down year. Their losses aren't to bad teams at all. I mean, Goddard hasn't lost a game. Cleveland's undefeated, the #1 team in the state. Hobbs is very good this year. Carlsbad's pretty good. I would imagine the three losses in the southeastern part of the state are the ones that probably bug them. Losing to Goddard and Carlsbad and Hobbs, I'm sure their fans aren't happy with that.
And the Goddard game, I mean, what was it?
Last second field goal.
Yeah, three-point game. I mean.
Well, they won by 1 against Roswell, so who knows what's going to happen between Roswell and Goddard tonight. And it's going to be, you talk about, I think all three of those teams have a pretty good rivalry with each other. I mean, those games really mean a lot. So for Goddard and Roswell to beat Artesia and then vice versa, and of course Goddard and Roswell being an inter-city rivalry there. I'm picking Artesia. They're the better football team, but Tim had it right. The participation in the program is what I look at. When things are really going bad in program. Kids aren't coming out. The lower levels aren't growing, and we've seen it with JV and freshmen and all the way down to the middle school levels. There's kids that still want to come out and play football and be a part of things with Tiger football. And that, to me, shows a lot for what's going on. I know the results aren't there. And at the end of the day, sports is a results-based business, but you just got to hope that the coaches are putting things in the right direction and that in the next year or two it's there. But we'll see. Maybe 2019 will be a little bit better for Tiger football. All right. By the way, Jake took Artesia as well. District championship game in Tularosa tonight. Dexter's 2-0. Tule's 2-0. Dexter comes in at 7-2. Tularosa is 5-4 overall in the season. And both teams have played very, very well this year. Dexter has probably been the more impressive of the two consistently this year. But, Tule at home is... for anybody, I think, is a challenge. So I think this will be a good game tonight. Tule's got to have the run game going if they want a chance to win. And if the defense can slow down Dexter and what they've been doing offensively this year, then I think they've got a great opportunity to go out there and win one tonight. Brian?
Yeah, this is another one of these tough picks. There's quite a few on this week in the high school ranks. And looking at Dexter, it looks like they put up some good points. And I think there's just going to be too much Dexter tonight, and they're going to overcome the road trip and the home field advantage. So I'm going Dexter.
All right. Brandon?
I've kind of had a little bit of an off year myself here. I'm not used to being this close to Manny. But
2 shots in like the first 10 minutes.
Wow.
I have some ground to make up. I haven't been here for a little bit.
Notice how broad my shoulders are.
He's not phased.
No, I've been doing the show for a while now, and so this is always fun. This is the fun part. I think Dexter's just a little bit better team. I would love to see Tulerosa come out and win tonight. I got a little bit of ground to make up. I'm going to take a little bit of a safer bet here and go with Dexter.
Tim?
Yeah, the privilege of watching Thule up close, and they do run the ball really well. They sprinkle in the pass. They're not terrible at passing the ball, but they just run it so consistently that they will they'll limit Dexter's offensive possessions. And it wouldn't surprise me if Thule wins, but I haven't seen Dexter play, but they're always so good at football. It's kind of one of those small cities that really puts all their eggs in that basket. So I'm going to go with Dexter, but pulling for Thule, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Thule pulls the upset.
Yeah, I like Dexter. I think they've just proven to be the more consistent team this year. I think they've lost to Eunice, and I can't remember who the other one is, but they haven't lost. I think it's Portales, I think was the other one. So they've played the 2 losses are to really good teams. Tule's got a chance. Again, if they can, as Tim said, a ball possession kind of game where Dexter doesn't have the ball a ton and they can, keep it down to maybe 5 or 6 offensive possessions on each side, then they've got an opportunity. But I'm going to go Dexter. Manny?
Last 2 wins, Dexter has put up 92 points and only given up 7.
Whoa.
Last 2 wins, Tulerosa has put up 71 and given up 34. I offset that by the spirit of the community and the home field advantage. If we go down together. I'm going Wildcats.
All right, let's see if we can get one there. Jake is also going with Dexter in that one. So Manny's sticking with the hometown. He's the one who's got some integrity out here. So
I like the Wildcats. I like the way they're running the ball.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're playing well. Coach Grace has done a really good job again this season. Goddard and Roswell facing off in the Wool Bowl tonight. 8-0-1 Goddard, 7-2 Roswell. I mean, this is as good as it gets. Intercity rivalry. Maybe it's not Mayfield Cruces, but to me, it's one of the better rivalries in the state of New Mexico. And there's a legitimate. I mean, in every sport between Roswell and Goddard, there is something. You talk about almost like the train tracks that divide the town. That town is so deeply divided. I've heard from people who own businesses there that some people will only shop on one side of town and not shop on the other. It's wild. I mean, not living there, I won't probably ever understand it. So this is a true kind of rivalry game coming up tonight. Goddard can lock up the district championship with a win. Roswell can put themselves in the hunt for the tiebreaker. If all 3 teams finish 2-1, then you start getting into point differential and stuff, which I don't have on my head. So it'll be if Roswell wins, they need to win by a pretty good margin if they want to win the district. Brandon.
Does anybody have a coin?
It's that kind of game.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look at the differential in the Roswell game and the Roswell Artesia game and the Artesia Goddard game. My goodness.
Yeah. No. This is absolutely one of the toughest picks that I've picked in a long time. And speaking on the divided town, this is why Bobby strategically has a dealership on each side of town.
Yeah.
just to make sure we got both ends covered. This is wow! I really would love to have been in Roswell tonight to watch this game. I am gonna go Goddard. I don't really have a reason. I'm just hoping that Goddard's just a little bit better. But this is a great season for Roswell. Roswell hasn't had. They haven't been great. Goddard has had a struggle for the last couple years. They've had some very good seasons in the past. I'm going to go off experience, so I think Goddard's got more of those playoff, those tough games. I think they have the upper edge there.
I think Goddard's been the more consistent program overall, like over the last 20 years or so. But Roswell certainly has had some good seasons in there too. Tim.
Well, Goddard hasn't lost yet, and Roswell's had 2, good losses if there's such a thing. Yeah, neither one of them's home team, right? They're both home team. There's there's really nothing. I like the coin toss analogy because I have no idea. I was hoping I'd go last. That's always my strategy on these games that are 50-50s, and I'll just kind of even it out.
I'll tell you Jake went Roswell.
Okay, good. Well, that makes my life easier. Not that Jake's in contention. I really just want to know who Brian's going to pick. I'm going to try to read Brian. It's like a game of poker. You going to give me any hints? Because I'll go the opposite just to make it fun. I'll go Goddard just because they haven't lost. And that's another one of our little mottos that we just totally have no idea what we're doing. So we say, hey, if they haven't lost yet, why pick against them? I'll go Goddard.
Well, I think it's that kind of game. I mean, you got one guy worth mentioning is Dalton Bowles. We saw, or I got to see him with their quarterback. They say he rushed for almost 400 yards last week against Artesia. So, I mean, he is their everything, and he's good enough to the defenses are going to key on him, and he still goes out there and plays well. So, in seeing Roswell last week, they've clearly got a lot of talent in a few places. Josiah Reese, number 2, and the running back, I can't think of number 3's name off the top of my head, but they both had good games. I think overall, Goddard's a little bit better just in having seen both teams, but it's a rivalry game. It's a toss-up. I'm going to go Rockets. Don't feel particularly great about it, but that's the pick, I guess, Manny.
I've been following these two schools for as long as I can remember. My dad turned out the lights at Walker Air Force Base in the 60s. I was the last kid on G Street my age. So we watched Walker get closed down. And Carla's got family there. Her brother played at Roswell. One of her cousins coached at Goddard. And so there's a lot of history in this between these two programs, and we're very familiar with them. And that's why it's so hard to pick this game. I don't have a clue. But I think I'm just going to favor Roswell just for the fun of it.
Okay. I think it's not a bad pick. I think either or is a solid pick, and it's going to be, judging by the way the first 2 games in the district went, got to think this is going to be a last-second kind of game.
Oh, yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen in this game. I mean, I think it's going to depend on who's going to make one more play, 2 more plays than the other school. I mean, I think it's going to come down to that. However, I'm going to stick with Goddard because I think I've had him earlier in the season, and I'm sticking with my horse.
Okay. We'll see what happens. By the way, I got a text from Jake that he heard what Tim said and that you better watch out.
Wasn't even that bad.
No.
I need to start picking on Manny because he does, Manny's so calm about it. I didn't know Jake was tender. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Jake. I'm still kidding. 90% of what I say is silly. So
he is a little fragile. I mean, he can dish it out. He can dish it out, though, but he can't take it too well yet.
He's having fun. We're all having fun.
Well, he had a good week last week, so
he did.
No, I'm just picking at him because he can't retaliate live on the radio.
That's a good point.
He can just send Charles, little text messages.
He might dial in,
Yeah, there you go.
Dial into the studio.
All right, the rivalry in the state of New Mexico, Las Cruces versus Mayfield. And you talk about a toss-up game. I think going into the season, we wouldn't have thought that, but Las Cruces has had a down year for their standards, and Mayfield has been better than what we thought. I mean, there were people, the people that I talked to over in Cruces were, at the beginning of the season, they watched the Mayfield scrimmage and said, they're bad. And, Coach Bradley has really done a great job with the Trojans this year. I mean, they're... of course, you're going to get some silly people on Facebook when in a Mayfield game that they lose, they need to fire Coach Bradley. I mean, there were people that were saying that, and it's just
wow. We'll take him.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense. We'd be happy to have him on.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, anybody would take Coach Bradley as their coach of a high school football program. He's proven what he can do. Cruces at 5-4, Mayfield at 6-3. 4-1 to Mayfield's in District, 3-2 to Cruces. So this is also for a little bit of playoff positioning, I think, as well between the two teams. But I don't think they really care about that. It's rivalry. They want to have bragging rights. Tim, who do you like?
Man, again, I'm sad I have to go first on this one because I have no idea.
Jake went Mayfield.
Okay, well,
so
I'll go Cruces just because last time I kind of went with a slightly more obvious favorite team, and then so this time I'll go with what I guess is an underdog in Las Cruces, which feels weird to say. I don't know. I mean, 49-51 if this was – I'd love for us to have a 3-3 here, so that's my goal.
Yeah, I think, you look at some of the common opponents. Obviously, they played the same district this year. I mean, Cruces lost to Hobbs. That was a Hobbs team that was fully loaded. I guess they were without their best wide receiver last week in that Mayfield game, so that maybe had an impact for them. They both lost to Centennial, and both lost in close games to Centennial this year. I'm going to give the edge to Mayfield, but I don't feel very good about it. I think it's going to be a last-second kind of win, which is what you expect from a Mayfield-Cruces game.
Is this at Aggie Memorial?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. How fun for those kids. Well, Las Cruces has got a very pedestrian defense, but they beat Rio Rancho 44-33 in Rio Rancho. You remember that? And they beat Seabad in Seabad 38-26. Mayfield held Hobbs to 8 points.
Yeah.
I don't think any of that matters because this just comes down to the 11 versus the 11 in that moment, and on through 4 quarters. I'm going Mayfield.
Brian.
All right, this right here, once again, this is another one of those games. It's just a toss-up. It's going to be a smash-mouth rivalry game. I was really going to toss the coin on this one, too, but I need to pick up a game on Tim, so I'm going to take Mayfield.
Brandon.
I'll go Cruces.
All right. Try to pick one up with Tim there.
I just I just haven't had the feeling for Mayfield as much as what I had for Cruces this year. I think Cruces, they're just a little bit better. I just think they're a little bit better.
Yeah, I think we've probably forgotten a little bit. I mean, how good of a team they can be, just because they've had some losses this year.
Who's had a tougher schedule?
Probably not too many teams. Hobbs has played a very or not Hobbs, but Las Cruces has played a very tough schedule.
That's what I'm saying. So I think Cruces has played the tougher teams, and I think that they have just a little bit more experience because of that. Yeah. And who are their losses to?
La Cueva, I think. I'd have to go back and look and see what all their losses are. They lost to Centennial and Hobbs in district. I can't remember what the other non-district loss was. El Dorado, I think, beat them early in the season when they had that quarterback before he got hurt.
I think so.
So, I mean, but I will say Mayfield's played a pretty good schedule too. Del Valle, I think they had Cleveland in there, a couple others. So, I mean, they've played a good schedule too. So, it's hard to find a separation between the two sides. And I think a gut feeling is about as good as you're going to get in all this. So
I've tried to come up with something. I mean, Manny probably provided more information that but
Brandon, it's never a bad idea to just take the picks I pick. So if you want to,
you're absolutely right.
Just a thought.
You're absolutely right.
Self-serving thought, but a thought nonetheless.
15 games ahead of me, so you're
there. You go. All right, good game out in southeastern New Mexico as well. Portales versus Lovington. These are two towns that are kind of fit that almost West Texas feel to it. Same with Artesia and Hobbs and Carlsbad and Clovis. Portales is 6-3, 2-0 in district. Lovington is 5-4. They're 2-0 in district. We got to see Lovington this year. They're definitely got a top level offense and have played a tough schedule this year. Portales has won some impressive games as well, and it's for a district championship, so you know how important it's going to be for both of these sides. Out on the blue field turf there in Lovington. This is a tough one as well. Since I made all you guys go first once, I should actually have to go first on one of these. Well, most importantly, Tim gets to go last. Jake's going Portales. I'm going to go with the Rams as well, but yikes! Picking against Lovington while they're at home doesn't feel very, very good.
Right.
Manny.
Portales has got a better defense. Lovington's got home field advantage. In the last 2 wins, Portales has put up 102 points and given up only 14. Lovington's put up 71 and given up 20. Oh, man. I'm going to go Rams on the road.
All right. Brian.
All right, I was going to use my stake finger logic on this because of Portales. However, I'm going to go the home team. I'm going to take Lovington. I'm going to change my pick that I had, and I'm going to go Lovington. I'm going to take the home field and the blue field.
All right. Brandon.
Here's the thing. You can never count Lovington out. Like, they're just one of those teams that just show up at the right time. So it's really hard to say. Who's going to come out on top in this game. I think it's a very evenly matched game, as Manny just talked about. They both have a good defense. I'll go with Brian on this one, and I'm going to go Lovington just because they're at home, and sometimes a little bit of blue can blind you.
All right. Tim.
I think this might be one of the easiest ones on the schedule today. I think it'll be Portales, and I think they'll win considerably.
Okay.
By a considerable margin.
Okay.
My strategy worked.
There you go.
I figured he was going that direction.
What game? Are you working a game this weekend, Tim, or no?
I'm not. I asked for it off because I'm moving into my new house tonight. So,
Okay, so there you go. All right, we'll take a break, come back. We'll pick some college games, a very good college football weekend. You're listening to the KNMZ Football Roundtable on ESPN Alamogordo.
Are you looking to rent or need someone to manage your property? Hi, I'm Jake Roberts with Coldwell Banker, Sudworth Nelson. Did you know that we are the largest property management company in Alamogordo? Whether you were looking for a short-term housing solution or to turn an existing property into a great long-term investment, give us a call at 575-437-1137. Visit our website today at alamogordocoldwellbanker.com or come by and see us at 800 Scenic Drive.
This is Brandon with Desert Sun. I'm not sure if you all know this, but Desert Sun Auto Group consists of 5 dealerships across the great state of New Mexico. This means we have 5 new car departments with over 500 vehicles to choose from and over 200 quality pre-owned vehicles. Majority of these vehicles, when bought from us, are backed with Desert Sun's lifetime powertrain protection. Stop by either Desert Sun Motors or Desert Sun Toyota today and let us help you find your new ride. See our full inventory at DesertSunMotors.com.
Hi, I'm Pastor Tim Brock, and I'd like to invite you to Christ Community Church, a place to belong, a place to come together, and a place to leave inspired. We have dynamic worship, engaging and relevant Bible teaching, and excellent ministries for everyone in the family. Our worship services are Sundays at 9 and 11:15. Christ Community Church, where it's about relationship, not religion, and where Jesus Christ is Lord. For more information, find us online at christcommunityalamo.org.
Now you have a choice when it comes to keeping massive files of your bank statements every month. With an online e-statement, you'll have an accurate, easy-to-read electronic statement you can access anywhere, anytime. Get more control over your cash flow. And no more giant filing cabinets. Our e-statements get an A+. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student-athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student-athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back to the KNMZ Football Roundtable. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. And thanks for spending some time with us. On to the college picks for this week and the game of the week, which just incredible that Alabama is playing the number 3 team in the nation on the road, and they're 14.5-point favorites. It just shows how much respect there is for Alabama. Just wild, incredibly wild how that was worked itself out. So, Jake, I finally put Alabama on the sheet, and Jake isn't here this week, so he went Bama. I will go Alabama as well. I think. The interesting one is if we were picking with the spread there, would you even take LSU at that point, getting the 14.5? So that's a tough one.
Remember how much Donna used to love LSU?
I'm sure she still does. Yeah, still a big LSU fan. Manny?
Yeah, and if you're trying to bait somebody, you don't have to. This is at Tiger Stadium. Look at October. The Tide beat 3 unranked teams.
Yeah.
LSU beat Mississippi State and Georgia. Now, they lost to Florida, which was number 22, but they beat Mississippi State and Georgia. So, Donna, this is the Charles Garland and Harris 5-star lead pipe lock of the week, Tigers.
Boy, that's some pressure right there.
Yeah. Should be noted, Manny's 0 for 1 on his 5-star lead pipe lock of the week this year. So,
but it's fun to say.
Last year he was unbeaten. I think he got them all right last year. This year, when he took Chicago against New England, I think it was that did not happen that time.
I saw Donna at Sertoma at lunch yesterday, and she looked really good. And so this is just for her, really.
I think that's great. It's not a bad pick. I mean, that's the question for Alabama is really haven't seen them. I mean, I think the best team they probably played is Texas A&M, maybe Mississippi State. They haven't really played anybody this year, so
I know they're good. I know they're good. I'm not sure the Raiders could beat them.
I don't
They
think so.
could. I have faith. You know, that's always one of the silliest arguments I ever
I'm
hear
with you,
is
Charles. Yeah.
There is not a college team that can beat a professional team. So anyway, just like there's no great high school team that can beat a college team.
Well, you know, some people do fantasy football. Some people just fantasize, right?
Brian, who you like?
I tell you what, it's hard. It's hard. I got to go with the spread. Those guys know something. That's a huge spread. I went against LSU earlier in the year, and they played Georgia, and I thought Georgia probably was the number one team in the country. Obviously, I was dead wrong. And I'm going to be rooting for LSU just because I can't stand Alabama. But I got to take Alabama.
I think the spread is a little artificial because we're down to the 4, right, or 5, and the corporation guys have a business to run, and so they're running a business behind the scenes. In case you guys didn't realize that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it has to do with the bet. They want people to put bets on LSU, and if it's a 14.5 point spread, that helps the possibility of that, I'm sure. So. Brandon?
I haven't seen a close game with Alabama all season. Until I do so, I'm going to stick with them going Alabama.
Tim?
Yeah, not that we're a bunch of betting experts, but you're right. It's like the Cowboys. There's always like a point or two because there's so many fans. If wherever you're nearby the Lakers, LeBron, people are going to just, if they're not professional gamblers, they're going to be drawn to the teams they like, teams that they know. So that does kind of create an artificial spread. But with that said, I mean, I think I'd be silly to go against Alabama until we see otherwise. And to me, all these easy games, Nick Saban wasn't like forgetting the fact that they're playing LSU. He's going to put all of his eggs in this basket to win it. And I want LSU to win, but I'm going to pick Alabama.
I think this is the best offense Nick Saban has ever had. It's probably the best quarterback he's ever had as well.
Absolutely.
So, I mean... number 4, Notre Dame goes to Northwestern. They're getting 10. It's not a huge line, and we've seen Notre Dame not necessarily pull away from some teams this year, so I'm sure that's part of the reason why it's that. Northwestern's been good this year. They're a solid football team, so I think probably a pretty entertaining game, man.
It'll be fun to watch. Wildcats at Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois, which is 113.2 miles away from South Bend. 2 hours. Easy trip for the Irish. Of course, I'm going Fighting Irish.
Brian?
Usually, it seems to me that the Irish always come up. They pull one game out of the season, they just decide to choke. And this could be that game this week. And Northwestern seems like they pull one and they just win a crazy win. But I'm still going to stick with Manny's team, Notre Dame.
Brandon?
Yeah, I like Notre Dame on this one.
Tim?
And Coach Kelly had one of the best coaching moves so far this year when he put Ian Book in as quarterback. Wasn't an obvious thing at the time, but he's been really good, completing 76% of his passes. Notre Dame's a very legitimate playoff team, which, again, with only 4 teams making it out of a lot of teams, that's nothing to be ashamed about. So I'm going to go Notre Dame, but it should be a good game. Northwestern always gives them a tough one.
Yeah, I'll go Irish. I think Northwestern's got a real good chance, but it's one of those games that Notre Dame should win, in my mind, and they know what's in front of them. If they win out, they're going to be in the college football playoff. It's hard to see a scenario they're going to get left out if they're undefeated. Missouri goes to the Swamp to play Florida. This is another kind of surprising line. Mizzou's been, I think, maybe better than anticipated this year, but it's just 6 points in Florida's direction. Florida lost I was going to say a tight game to Georgia, but Georgia pulled away at the end of it there. So, but we know the Gators are still good. Dan Mullen's done a good job this year. A lot losing to Georgia is nothing to be ashamed about. They're going to try to work their way back into the SEC championship game, and they've got Kentucky, I think, this weekend. So that's probably for the SEC East. We'll see what happens there. Tim?
Yeah, I love the Gators. I was mildly happy that I picked against them last week because I wanted them to win the game, but it made me feel better. Like, that was the goal, right? I slept fine Saturday night. But I think Florida's got this one. It is going to be a tough one. Missouri's sneaky good at 4-4. Florida, every game they play for the most part is close. It's a 6-point line. I'm going to go Gators at the Swamp because I want them to win, but let's see if they've got the strength to finish the season out strong.
By the way, Jake went Notre Dame as well, and he's going Mizzou in this game, so he likes the Tigers. I just think in the Swamp I got to go Gators. I don't have enough faith in Mizzou to be able to come in and win that game there. They lose a neutral site game to Georgia last week, and Kentucky's obviously had a good season, but I think they'll take care of business at home. Manny?
Oh, man. I like that tiger logo they have. It's just like ours.
It's crazy how that works.
I'm glad they copied us.
It's a little bit more rounded in play. Like on the snout, I think it's a little more rounded than ours is.
Yeah, I'm going Florida.
The reason I looked at it because there were some. I think right when the new logo was announced, I had some people on Twitter that saw it and were like, "How do they get away with that?" You know, there's enough changes in there, I guess, where the copyright's not an issue for Alamogordo High School. Anyway, Brian.
I tell you what, I think Tim's right. Missouri is a little sneaky, but once again, we put the swamp in there. I got to go Florida.
Brandon.
You know, I've struggled with the Florida games this year. You know, when I pick them, they lose. I don't pick them, they win. It's just been a struggle for me. I just don't know if this game was in Missouri. I think I would pick Missouri, but with it being in Florida, I'm going to go Florida.
All right. Manny, do you go Florida or Mizzou?
Florida.
Florida. Okay, that's what I thought. You started talking about the logo, and I got distracted.
Squirrel.
I know, exactly. Number 7, Oklahoma at Texas Tech. They're 13.5-point favorites. And this line's moved a little bit more towards Oklahoma than it was earlier in the week. But, you know, Texas Tech's had a solid season, and this has always been kind of a fun game. And it's a nighttime game there in Lubbock, so that's even better. We've seen that upset happen before there for Texas Tech, but we'll see what happens this week. Brandon?
You know, my sister and my brother-in-law, Jake, Karan, they will be out there representing OU on this game. I really need to make that trip over there with them sometime. But, you know, Oklahoma has, you know, they struggled on 1 or 2 games, but for the most part, they've kind of turned their season around. Their quarterback, you know, I guess he's not going to be playing next year, so kind of sad. You know, he's got some talent. You know, he's definitely good. I think Oklahoma comes in. I think it's going to be a tight first half, and I think the second half they're just going to destroy Texas Tech.
Well, their defense definitely looked better against Kansas State last week, and I'm guessing that Kyler Murray's going to play baseball next year, and he's not going to play football.
I guess he signed with Oakland.
I knew he was drafted by them, but I didn't know what the plan was there. But he's actually a better baseball player than he is a football player. That's what's kind of crazy, and the athleticism that he has. Tim?
Yeah, with his frame, I don't blame him because you can make a lot of money as a baseball player. Yeah, I think this is a pretty obvious one. I think Oklahoma is the better team. I know that one loss might put a little bit of pressure on us to think that they're vulnerable, but I don't think so. I think Oklahoma will still be in the college playoff. I think they'll win their conference, and I think they'll win out. So I'm going to go Oklahoma, but as always, I'll be pulling for Texas Tech.
Jake likes OU. I like OU. I just, even if Oklahoma's defense doesn't play well, I know Texas Tech's defense isn't going to play well, so I'm going to go with the Sooners. Manny?
Good line.
This is about quarterback play. Murray's better than Bowman at quarterback. Murray's put up 28 touchdowns, only threw 3 interceptions. Bowman's put up 15 touchdowns through 7 interceptions. I'm going Oklahoma.
All right. Brian?
Yeah, you know I'm taking Oklahoma. Everything that Brandon said, and I think that they're just gonna be a shootout, and Oklahoma's got way too much firepower.
All right, number 13, West Virginia. Number 17, Texas. 2 points going to Texas, so not much. Essentially home field here. Just like every road trip for the Mountaineers, it is a long one for them. Yeah, this is another curious one. West Virginia, you know, they win this game. Maybe they put themselves in line to get to the Big 12 title game. So big for both sides, and we'll see if West Virginia can go in and take care of business there.
Go ahead, Charles. You got the first round on this one.
No, I went first for the Alabama-LSU game there.
Well, I went first for the Florida game, so I'm just making sure you don't make me go first here.
We'll make Brian go first this time.
I like it.
I have simple logic here. This is a long road trip for West Virginia, but being an OU guy, I just can't pick Texas. It's just obvious. So I'm going West Virginia. Just I want to see him just give him a beat down.
Jake going with the Mountaineers too. Brandon?
You know, this is one of those games, right? That, you know, Texas kind of surprised a lot of people. They went from just last year having a terrible season to having a pretty decent season this year, beating OU to put themselves where they are. Why? You know, they're in Texas and they're only a two-point favorite. I mean, that says a lot right there. I'm going to go West Virginia. I hope Texas does get beat, just to make up some ground, for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, and who did Texas get upset by last week?
Oklahoma State.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I couldn't remember.
And it was
38-35.
Yeah, it was a pretty close game at the end.
game.
Texas had a chance, and I don't remember what happened at the end, but I think Oklahoma State was able to excuse me, run out the clock. Tim?
Man, this is a tough one. Obviously, the point spread makes it tough. The conference rivalry makes it tough. I think West Virginia is really good, but they're not great on the road. They tend to be kind of a mediocre team on the road. So, but I think Will Greer's amazing. So I don't know. I think I'll go Texas just because I'm shocked the other guys all went West Virginia. So I'll make it interesting and either get ahead of Brian a little bit more, or Brian will kind of inch his way back into my life, which is okay. I want you in my life, Brian.
Well, that's so nice of you.
This is the question. I mean, does it feel like a game that I can gain on Tim, or if I pick West Virginia, I'm going to lose? I think he's right. I think West Virginia on the road for whatever reason, and we've seen it with Dana Holgerson's group, that they're just some wildly inconsistent. And I don't know if Will Greer is that much better than Ellinger, or Ellinger. Oh, I'm gonna go Texas, Manny.
Man. Only important common opponent I could find was Baylor. West Virginia beat them 58-14. Texas beat them 27-17. I got to believe the Longhorns will bounce back from last week at home. I'm going Texas.
All right, got a split there.
There we go. That's what we wanted.
All right, and you can listen to the Aggies on Saturday here on ESPN Alamogordo. They'll take on Alcorn State. We'll have Tiger Soccer towards the end of that game. And then we've also got the LSU-Alabama game for you guys coming up on Saturday. So plenty to listen to here on ESPN Alamogordo. We're going to take a break, pick our NFL games. You're listening to the KNMZ Football Roundtable.
Sometimes you just need a loan. Your daughter Debbie is getting married. Your son Toby needs a new tuba. Let's face it, families cost money. Things come up that you had no way of predicting. We make personal loans for occasions like this to people who have good credit. So next time you find yourself connected to the unexpected, stop in and see us about a personal loan, subject to credit approval. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
Hi, I'm Pastor Tim Brock, and I'd like to invite you to Christ Community Church, a place to belong, a place to come together, and a place to leave inspired. We have dynamic worship, engaging and relevant Bible teaching, and excellent ministries for everyone in the family. Our worship services are Sundays at 9 and 11:15. Christ Community Church, where it's about relationship, not religion, and where Jesus Christ is Lord. For more information, find us online at christcommunityalamo.org.
This is Brandon with Desert Sun. I'm not sure if you all know this, but Desert Sun Auto Group consists of 5 dealerships across the great state of New Mexico. This means we have 5 new car departments with over 500 vehicles to choose from and over 200 quality pre-owned vehicles. Majority of these vehicles, when bought from us, are backed with Desert Sun's lifetime powertrain protection. Stop by either Desert Sun Motors or Desert Sun Toyota today and let us help you find your new ride. See our full inventory at DesertSunMotors.com.
Hi, my name is Jake Roberts, and I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker Southern Nelson. Are you looking for your dream home, or are you looking to sell your property and need the guidance to get noticed? I can help you with professional real estate services today. Call me at 575-446-8574 or email me at jake@nmvistas.com. To view a list of our inventory, visit our website at alamogordo-coldwellbanker.com or visit us at 800 Scenic Drive in Alamogordo.
Today's forecast is calling for sunny, partly cloudy tonight, and slightly warming in Alamogordo. High of 65, low of 43 for Cloudcroft. High of 52 and an overnight low of 30. Tomorrow, continued sunny and continued warming in Alamogordo tomorrow. High of 70, low of 41. Cloudcroft tomorrow. High of 57, overnight low of 26. There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back to the KNMZ Football Roundtable. Me and Brandon started talking NASCAR, and it got real quiet among everybody else in the room.
My eyes glazed over with boredom. Felt like my wife when she hears me talk about sports. Like, let's move on.
All right, let's start in the pro games. We don't have to waste a whole lot of time here because Nathan Peterman is starting at quarterback this weekend for the Buffalo Bills. Not that it's a whole lot worse than Derek Anderson. I don't think Chicago's that good. And I'll tell you right now, with that 10-point line, I'd be okay with taking Buffalo because Trubisky's had some good moments, but he is wildly inaccurate in a lot of ways. But in terms of who wins the game, the Bears defense will do more than enough for a Bills offense that, by the way, the kid who played for the Niners last night, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. He's thrown more touchdown passes in that one game than the Bills have thrown the entire season, according to somebody. I don't know who pointed that out, but it was a little bit of a stake in the heart, but it was also like, yeah, that makes me.
Yeah, Nick Mullins, and he threw for 262 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He was on the practice squad at the beginning of the season. So with Garoppolo going down and C.J. Beathard getting hurt last week, they had to go to him, and he played very well. So,
what college did Nick Mullins go to?
Southern Miss. I had to look that up.
Nice.
Because I was wondering where he was from, too.
Yep, never heard of him.
I'm going to go Bears. Jake is also going Bears. Manny?
Yeah, I've got 2 friends that are really Bears fans, and I was happy they got that linebacker. Chicago is going to beat Buffalo.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm going Chicago.
Brandon?
Yeah, Chicago.
Tim?
I know we shouldn't always talk about point spreads, but I actually think this will be a close game. Buffalo's usually better at home. Is Allen playing? I think he is.
And let me check this real quick. All of a sudden, I'm wondering if this game is in Buffalo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even says
I don't know why I thought it was. I maybe had it wrong on here. So, their defense, just like the Monday night game, their defense is good enough to keep them in games. The problem is their offense is a dumpster fire, and so.
That's a good.
Yeah, but they've been a little bit better with Josh Allen under center. So if he is, and I'm not sure, I haven't been able to figure that out in the 3 seconds that I've been looking.
Peterman's playing this game.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's all I needed to know. I take back everything I just said. It'll be Chicago in a blowout. Yeah.
Okay,
even if the wind's blowing.
Yeah, he called it last week because you were like, oh, the Buffalo's going to keep it interesting, just enough to maybe watch it in the third quarter, and then they're going to pull away. And I'm watching. I'm like, man, he called this perfect. That's exactly what happened.
I've watched enough Bills-Patriots games, or just Bills games. They're good enough to stay in, and they're good enough to keep me into it, and then they go down in flames. And they did. Spectacularly, they went down in flames at the end of that game. It was great. All right, Green Bay goes to New England. You got some really good NFL games this week, too. 5.5 going to New England, and I think that's a fair spread. Green Bay is another wildly inconsistent team. However, I would have loved to have seen Aaron Rodgers at least have a chance to take them down the field against the Rams at the end of that game last week. Thanks, Ty Montgomery. So we'll see what happens. Manny, who do you like?
I hate picking New England. Well, put me down for the Patriots.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'm not going to go against Brady at home. New England.
Brendan.
This is the I think one game that Justin and I completely have different views on. I think Green Bay's a little inconsistent for me. New England's New England. I'm ready for New England to not be New England one day, but right now if this game was in Green Bay, I would pick Green Bay. With it being in New England, it's hard to pick against them at home. I'm going to go New England.
Charles, refresh my memory. Was it this guy to my right Was it? You know what I'm talking about?
He apologized.
He said the Patriots' demise begins today, and that was like week 3, I believe.
Maybe it starts with this game.
You never know.
You just said that they're showing no signs of. That is like a political reversal right there, man.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
It's the season.
I did say.
Hey, listen, I would rather take a politician that would admit when he's wrong, and he admitted when he's wrong. So I'm with you on that one, Brad.
It was early in the season. I really thought they were done.
We were hoping you were right.
Hoping they were done.
I think there's every single one of us on this table is waiting, and maybe me more than any is waiting for New England to not be what they've been over the last 15 years.
Being a Colts fan, you hate that time of year when we play them, and there's.
At least you're not in their division anymore.
No.
Well, anyway, Aaron Rodgers is the ultimate equalizer. I mean, he's as good as Tom Brady is. I actually think Aaron Rodgers might be a little bit better, but he doesn't have the weapons. I don't necessarily think he's got the coaching staff, and he's got that kid from UTEP, Aaron Jones, is a pretty good running back. So maybe they'll actually use him. They've been doing kind of a running back by committee. So Green Bay could keep this close if they can play their style. I just think it would be silly of me to go out on a limb and pick Green Bay when I'm holding on to a lead and everybody's already picked before me and they picked New England. So I'll just push on this one, go New England. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Green Bay pulled the upset at Gillette Stadium.
Jake's going New England. I'm going Packers. I'll go Green Bay on that one. I'm willing to take an L on that if Green Bay. I always said Aaron Rodgers. I'm not much of a player guy, but Aaron Rodgers is probably maybe my favorite individual player in all of sports. So I like him a lot. And if New England loses, that's always a bonus. Dallas at home, getting 5.5 against Tennessee. And, well, Tim, the discord seems to be growing. You kind of feel like if Dallas were to lose this game, I don't necessarily know if Jerry would fire Garrett midseason, but it's getting closer and closer.
It is.
That area.
You see, it feels like the Wade Phillips era, where they're just 50, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, and then finally like, okay, it's time to go with somebody else. Yeah, Dallas is the queen of mediocrity. I chose queen on purpose. It's one of those things though. Dallas does do well at home. They're 3-4, so the pattern would be that they're going to be 4-4. So I'm going to take Dallas at home against Marcus Mariota, who I think, as I've said every week, is underwhelming at the very best.
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Dallas.
Jake goes Dallas. I think he's underwhelming like Dak Prescott's underwhelming in a lot of ways, so Marcus Mariota.
And the last time the Cowboys traded for a receiver midseason was Roy Williams, if you remember that, and he didn't do a thing for the Cowboys. So I'm hoping that Amari Cooper with the bye can do something, but it's hard to implement players in the NFL. That's why you don't see a lot of trades midseason like you do in other sports, because it's hard to learn the system and be a factor midseason. So hopefully that's a unique situation and he'll do better. But
I think the bigger issue maybe is how Amari Cooper played at the end of his Raiders run. He just wasn't very good. So I think Zeke, Dak, and the defense for Dallas will find a way. And Tennessee they are, you talk about mediocrity, they are very mediocre. But both teams are in that area. I think it'll be a close game. I think the spread's too big. It's probably going to be a field goal. I'll go Dallas. Manny?
I hope Amari Cooper has a great season the rest of the way out and a good career at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going Cowboys at home.
Brian?
Cowboys at home.
Brandon?
Yeah, I just don't like Tennessee at all. I'm going to go Dallas.
Houston goes to Denver. I'm kind of surprised Denver's getting a point. That one is a little bit of a head scratcher to me. Jake likes the Texans, and I don't know, could be a bit of a toss-up game, but Houston's won, what have they won, 5 straight now, I think? They started 0-3, and they're 5-3 now. Well, head on over to you, Brian. Who do you like?
I tell you what, it's hard when you're sending Houston up to Mile High. Mile High, Denver always plays well there. However, I started on Houston after they were losing for a few games, and I picked them, and I'm going to ride them out, taking Houston.
Brandon?
Houston's turned their program around. I kind of feel like their quarterback is starting to just kind of get into his rhythm. Kind of shocking. I mean, Houston, I would have just at the beginning of the season, I would have thought they would have just been like what they've been in the last couple of years. I like them. Can they go to Denver and win? I don't know. They should be able to. I'll go Houston.
Tim?
Yeah, so one of my best friends, Perry Caney, is a big Houston Texans fan, and I love what they've done, especially after beating the Cowboys. They've been on a roll. They seem to be getting better. They lost Will Fuller, but they got Demaryius Thomas. Man, I would be silly to not roll with Houston, even on the road in Denver, which is a tough place to play.
I think Case Keenum throws a couple picks, probably gets sacked a few times by either Clowney or Watt. I like Houston. Manny?
I like the Texans.
All right. And Jake likes Houston as well. I'm sure there's some of you wonder why I put this on here, but Brian's a Kansas City fan, so anytime I can fit his team on there as well, we're going to do that. 8 points to Kansas City at Cleveland. Cleveland's fired everybody. It's if the Bills are a dumpster fire, I don't know what Cleveland is, but it's not that far away. Brian.
You know what? This right here is kind of like a bye week for the Chiefs, I think. It's like a road trip, go check out Cleveland, go see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, show up at the stadium, smear the Browns, and leave. So, I'm going Kansas City.
Just got to watch out for some bounties, I guess, now that Greg Williams is the head coach.
Yeah.
Brandon?
I'm really surprised that the spread on this game is only 8.
Yeah.
That's what I couldn't figure out. Like, this is like a 14-point spread plus game. There's something I don't know. Maybe it is that because of all the new coaching staff, maybe they're just like, maybe they're going to try some new things, do some things. I don't know. I just don't think Kansas City can lose to Cleveland. I just can't. Yeah. And I think it's going to be more than by 8 points.
I think the Browns have been competitive this year. That's probably part of it. So,
yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, the Browns have lost some tough games, but they've been in a lot of games, so they haven't been blown out. They haven't been overmanned, outpowered, whatever phrase you want to use. But, man, Kansas City, if they have one stop against Tom Brady, we're talking about them being heads and shoulders the best. Quick story. I'm going to Thanksgiving in LA where my sister lives. My brother-in-law says, hey, I'm getting tickets to the Kansas City Rams game. They're playing the Rams at home. And I was like, that's amazing that they're playing in Mexico City. So I'm going Kansas City.
That game's in Mexico?
Yes.
Oh, that's lame.
Broke my heart.
That is lame.
But I am going to go see Notre Dame play USC.
Oh, that's very cool.
So I'll think of you, Manny.
All right. I got KC. Jake's got KC. Manny.
Kansas City.
Game of the week, LA Rams at New Orleans in the Superdome. Rams are getting 1.5 on the road. I'm not even sure they should be getting that. This should be a pick 'em game as far as I'm concerned. This is going to be a heck of a one to watch for sure. I like the Saints. I'm going to go New Orleans. Jake likes the Rams. Manny.
It's hard to go undefeated in the NFL. I'm going Saints.
All right. Brian.
Yeah, I agree with Manny. I think this is the week that the Rams go down. I'm going New Orleans.
Okay. Brandon.
Man, I really thought I was going to just jump out there and I'm going to pick the Saints and I'm going to pick one up, but man, I don't know if I'm going to do that. Rams have had a great season. They look strong, but they're in Saints. They're the home team. I don't know. I think they go down. Saints.
I think I know where Tim's going here.
Well, yeah, I'm all about kind of parity. I don't want these teams to ever feel bad about the fact that we don't pick them. So,
yeah, let me go with the undefeated team.
Yeah, my wife thinks the coach for the Rams is super cute, which makes me want to go against them. But then she told me I kind of look like him, which makes me want to go for him.
He's just like 6 inches taller than you.
I didn't say she didn't say he was as tall as me. I didn't say that.
Actually, I think he's pretty short.
By NFL standards, yeah. Probably, I don't know. I'm sure compared to my standard, he's a giant. So, you know what? I think the Rams having a competitive game last week against Green Bay actually helps them in this game because they kind of felt the pain of not being amazing. And if they had blown Green Bay out, I think I'd have gone Saints. But I'm going to go Rams, almost kind of a quasi-loss last week.
All right. Last thought, Manny, anything to say about your Oakland Raiders?
Just that we've got 5 first-round picks queued up.
Okay.
Tell you what, I think the Raiders, once they move to Vegas, they're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Could be. We'll see what happens.
Midway through the Gruden era.
Yep. Hope to see everybody out at Tiger Stadium tonight. Everybody have a great weekend.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7, Southern New Mexico's sports leader, KNMZ Alamogordo.
Nationwide, plus on SiriusXM Channel 80, plus live over the national television airwaves of ESPN News. Any second now, we're expected to have our next guest on the line. Looking forward to talking to my man, Louis Riddick, any second now. By the way, the Stephen A. Smith Show, tune in this Sunday for a football doubleheader as the Jets visit the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints host the Los Angeles Rams, presented by Vivid Seats. Pre-game begins at noon Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. As an aside, whenever I guess, he's there right now. I'll get back to the other stuff later. But on the line with us right now, as promised, our resident NFL insider and analyst, particularly with front office stuff. We're talking about the one and only Louis Riddick. He's here right with us right now. What's going on, Louis? How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Stephen A. How are you?
I'm doing all right. There's a big Sunday, several big-time games on the docket, so let's just get right to it. I apologize. Before I get right to it, that situation in Oakland against Oakland last night with the San Francisco 49ers pouncing on the Oakland Raiders last night. Tell me the primary thought you walked away from that game thinking.
Well, the primary thought was that this is a football team that's just broken spiritually and competitively because the players just really look. I've been involved in those games where your spirit's kind of broken, like the season's gotten away from you, and it's not like you're really consciously trying to tank it because you never do that, but you're just not really there. The players there really look like they've been done a disservice as far as being put in a position, Stephen A., to really compete and be, really valued in the present time. Although everybody there will tell you that they're still trying to be competitive and win games. The message they're sending by getting rid of all their best players speaks otherwise, that this is something that is a long-term thing and they're not really concerned with the short-term. And that's really hard to watch.
Well, no question, it's large to watch. And Louis, do me a favor, just speak closer to the phone because your voice was fading.
Okay, I'm sorry, man.
Don't worry, it's no big deal. But we're talking to Louis Riddick right there with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. With that being said, I'm listening to reports or reading reports. Derek Carr, I'm here for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. Who the hell told him that might be his choice? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who the hell told him that might be his choice? He might not have that choice.
Yeah, unfortunately, he may not. And I don't know what the communication is like between him and the front office or him and the coaching staff. But it just seems one where uncertainty reigns supreme at that place right now. And I'm sure everyone from Derek Carr to the 53rd guy on the roster is kind of looking over his shoulder, wondering what the long-term plan is for this organization. And again, that's just very fortunate. As a place that I played at, in a place where, quite honestly, of all the places I played in my career, I would probably say I cherished the most just from the fact that as a kid I always wanted to wear that uniform. Mm-hmm. It's hard to hear guys talk and sound the way they sound out there and put the kind of performances on the field that they're putting on the field, because it's just not a good situation. It's not what any fan base wants. It's not what the players want. And quite honestly, it's not really what the coaches want either. And it's something they need to get rectified quickly.
You heard me this morning on Get Up. I was on there with you and Mike Greenberg, and I basically labeled this situation analogous to James Dolan bringing on Phil Jackson in New York to sort of take the pressure off of him. Mark Davis obviously has been well documented. His pockets are not as deep as he would like them to be, certainly not as deep as he anticipates they will be once he moves the team to Vegas. And as a result, John Gruden accepts the money to come in here and clean up, break everything down to ultimately bring that up. How analogous do you believe this Mark Davis, owner for the Raiders, situation is with bringing in John Gruden, comparing that to James Dolan and Phil Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it's not the case. I can't confirm that it is, but it does seem like it's just strange to allow players that play premium positions like Khalil does, like Amari does, and then have uncertainty surrounding Derek Carr, and we obviously know how important that position is. It's just weird to have uncertainty surrounding those positions with those players who are in the prime of their careers, and you're just letting them walk. I mean, not even halfway through a season. And that's just hard for me to understand what is the point of doing that. And see, when people make the argument of, well, they weren't very good with Khalil Mack there, well, how good are you without him there, and how good do you think you're going to be in the future? And how much do you think you're going to, be able to replace a guy like that? And what makes you think that you're not going to have to pay somebody and pay premium players anyway? And why wouldn't you want to pay them? So a lot of this stuff, it's weird. I mean, you would really like some more clarity on the situation instead of all of the kind of smoke and mirrors that's going on with this football team as far as the message that they're sending out. But look, I get it. I've been on that side of it. Sometimes you can't really let everybody in on everything that's going on, and that's unfortunate. Because that puts some people in bad situations and causes them to have to take some shots and take bullets, so to speak, that maybe they don't deserve to. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Louis Riddick right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's get to some of these games on Sunday. We'll start with the earlier game. That's not the most potent game, but damn it, it's a pretty good one. So we'll start with them. Steelers versus the Ravens. What have you been seeing from the Ravens lately? We know what we've been seeing from the Steelers and how they've been coming along. But what about your thoughts on what you're seeing from the Ravens?
Well, the Ravens need to kind of get back to being more productive on the offensive side of the ball. They got to really be able to get the big plays down the field that they've been getting in the past earlier in the year with John Brown. They need to be able to run the ball effectively enough so the passing game gets going, especially on that side of the ball, and Joe has to be on it. On the defensive side, look, they're a high-pressure, high-risk, high-reward type of team that really feasts off of creating turnovers. They have to play true to their identity, and they have to make it happen against a Steelers team that right now is playing with tremendous cohesiveness, tremendous chemistry, that really seems to have taken in James Conner and really taken a vested interest in making sure he succeeds. And that's not to say that he can't succeed anyway, because he's tremendously talented. And then for the Steelers, the defensive side of the ball has to play better than they did in the first matchup against the Ravens, where Joe Flacco completed passes to 11 different guys. And I believe John Brown had 3 for over 100. Over 120, 140, something like that. I mean, he was just gashing them down the field. So they have to rectify that this time.
Louis Riddick, let me put you on the spot here. If you are the Steelers, whether it's a player in that locker room or Mike Tomlin, the coach, or Kevin Colbert, the general manager, ownership with the Rooneys or what have you, how are you feeling about Le'Veon Bell coming back now, considering the way the team is flowing without him?
Well, I feel as though I have choices, and I'm not going to call him. I'm not going to press him. I'm not going to say a word. When he decides to tell us when he's coming is when we'll kind of, fire up the conversations again about how he fits back in, how the coaches feel, how the team feels, where he's at physically. Quite honestly, right now, look, chemistry is a very hard thing in order to create on a football team from year to year at the professional level in particular. It sometimes just happens. You hope it's going to happen by putting together the right pieces, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. They've hit the jackpot right now, offensively and defensively, and as a total team. So I'm really not sweating it, to be honest with you. As good as he is, Stephen A., I'm just not sweating it. That's like, hey, if he comes, great. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And that's not just me sitting on the outside trying to, make some kind of grand statement. I've been in enough locker rooms to know that sometimes, you are better with addition by subtraction, and maybe, just maybe, this is the case. So we'll see.
How do you explain how the Steelers secondary has looked like they've had a turnaround? I've been lamenting their state of affairs for years. I never thought that I'd see their secondary look good, but over the last 2 weeks, they have looked good. Why?
I think communication is big. It's about communication, one, knowing what you're supposed to do as you communicate, and then executing your assignment relative to the greater overall philosophical, underpinnings of the defense. And they don't always do that. A lot of times these guys kind of go off the rails, and you're wondering, why is in cover 2, why is this corner not getting a jam? Why is this corner getting a jam? Why is this safety not on his landmark? Why is this safety on his landmark? So, they were sloppy. They were sloppy in terms of their alignment, their assignment, and execution, which is what all coaches talk about on defense. They've gotten better at it. The pass rush has gotten better. It's amazing what that does for the overall effectiveness of a defense.
Louis Riddick right here with Stephen A. and ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Let's transition to the big game of the day as far as I'm concerned, although it's in the afternoon. It's not Sunday Night Football. It's the New Orleans Saints hosting the Los Angeles Rams. I got to tell you something right now. I feel a lot of positives about the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees is completing 77% of his passes. Michael Thomas, as big time as he is, he's even more lethal in the slot. They've got Ingram back to join Kamara in the backfield. And from a secondary, from a defensive standpoint, although their defense has not been impressive, as long as Eli Apple is not a step back, I think he helps them defensively. What are your thoughts about this upcoming game for the Los Angeles Rams on the road in New Orleans?
Well, for the Rams, number one, if you just start on the defensive side, Aaron Donald has to play his very best game. He has to wreck the interior of the Saints offensive line and make Drew have to be able to flush out of the pocket and throw the ball on the run. If Drew can step up in the pocket and throw, you're dead. He's an artist. He'll paint a masterpiece on you that you won't like. So Aaron has to have his very best game. Marcus Peters has to play better against Michael Thomas. The linebackers better be careful when they have Michael Thomas in mismatches on your linebackers in the middle of the field, because no one does it better than Sean Payton. And when the running backs like Kamara in particular are singled up on your linebackers, You better be close to him. You better get him on the ground. We know how strong Alvin is in his lower body. So the Rams defense has their work cut out for him. You flip it over, it's going to be all about the Saints trying to make the Rams one-dimensional, meaning put it in Jared Goff's hands, which means shut down number 30 as much as possible and make them throw it. And when you do have them throw it, you better have great communication in the back end, because no one schemes up the deep passing game as good or better than Sean McVay. He preys on you getting out of line, having bad communication, losing leverage. Next thing you know, Brandon Cooks is over the top. Robert Woods is over the top. Cooper Kupp is on the linebacker screaming down the sideline in a mismatch. And it's 6. So they have to make the Rams play one-handed, play and kind of put the game in Jared Goff's hands. Then let their crowd become a factor, let their pass rush become a factor, and hopefully Drew has the ball in the end and they win it.
What do you think when you see Jared Goff throw the football?
Look, I compared him to Joe Montana when he came out of school, okay? And that people thought I was nuts. But he's long, lanky, has that very fluid, long, I don't want to say long throw motion, but it's just easy. It's easy when he throws it. Everything just comes easy to him. It doesn't look like he's ever straining. And it never looked like Joe Montana was straining either. Joe Montana didn't have Aaron Rodgers' arm. He didn't have Brett Favre's arm, but he was cool, he was calm, and he always found the open guys, and he could hit you short, intermediate, and deep. And when you put them side by side, they look the same. They look the same. So I know that may sound like people will be like, whoa, slow down now.
Well,
that's my comparison.
Hey, listen. You brought up Patrick Mahomes last year and what a stud he was going to be, and you look like a prophet there. Now, I got on you about a couple of things, but I got to give credit to my man Louis Riddick where it's due. You deserve it. So now let me put you on the spot again. Let me put you on the spot again because you know I like messing with you, Louis. I love you. I like messing with you. All right. So so based on what you just said, you got one dude looking like a stud and Patrick Mahomes, like you told me. You got another dude telling us you thought he was like Joe Montana. Which one you going with for the future? If you had to pick of the litter, if you had a number one pick and you had to go with one of the two.
Mahomes now.
Huh?
He says, I got to go with Pat Mahomes. As much as I love Jared Goff, I really do. I admire how he has resurrected his career. But I'm going to go with Pat because Pat is just so freaking talented. And he's got an absolute, I think, gem of a coach and an administrator in Andy Reid. And I think the sky's the limit for him.
All right. Louis Riddick right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio. Just a couple more questions before I let you get on out of here, buddy. What about the Sunday night matchup between Rodgers and Brady? Are you really, really looking forward to that, or is there something missing from this matchup? I don't think there is, but your thoughts?
No, there's nothing missing. It's just a contrast in styles. You have the great technician in Tom Brady who has perfected the art of throwing the football, and then you have the great off-schedule creator in Aaron Rodgers. It's just a contrast in styles. Both of their teams have strengths and weaknesses. You know the Patriots are going to try to attack the middle of the field. You know with Aaron, a lot of things are going to turn into playground ball. And that's the fun part about it because you're going to get a little bit of both. I think Tom wins it because they're at home. I think it's one of those where their coaching staff is better than the Packers' coaching staff. I think that's the difference.
Have you seen any slippage at all in Tom Brady this year?
No. Nope.
No cliff. No cliff, huh?
I was watching him more. I haven't seen it. Tom is on it. He's on it. He'll be fine.
What about their running game? Because I'm watching them use James White and Sony Michel, and I like their potency from that running back spot more so than I have in recent years. What about you?
Yeah, James is legit. James is a matchup nightmare. I think Teddy Bruschi says they call him Sweet Feet. He's incredible. He's absolutely incredible, and he's one of those guys who may not do his most damage running the football, but the matchups they create, but they're the ultimate chameleon football team. They'll do what it takes to win games. And he will fill whatever role is necessary, even if that doesn't mean actually running the ball traditionally like you think of running backs having to do.
You saw a lot of moves take place before the trading deadline expired this week. Golden Tate went to Philadelphia. HaHa Clinton-Dix went to the Washington Redskins. Demaryius Thomas went to the Houston Texans. Dante Fowler went to the Los Angeles Rams. A few days earlier, Amari Cooper went to the Dallas Cowboys. Who's the biggest winner and losers based off of those trade deadline moves?
I think I'll just put it this way. The teams that I think are going to have maybe get the biggest bang for their buck. I think the Redskins are really like HaHa Clinton-Dix, and he really fortifies that defense and makes that defense very, very formidable. I like that trade. I like the Fowler trade for the Rams because he has no excuses. He's going to get one-on-ones for the rest of this season because of Aaron. So we're going to find out just how good he is. We really are. Amari's going to get tons of targets. Tons of opportunity to show that he is a true number one. So all of these actually, in theory, are all good trades. I mean, I like them all. It's just a matter of so the teams that lost. Look, the Raiders lose when you get rid of a guy like Amari Cooper. I don't think the Jaguars lose by getting rid of Dante Fowler. They weren't going to sign him anyway. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. The Packers were kind of falling out of love with Clinton Dix, weren't liking how he was playing, and weren't going to give him a long-term deal anyway. So those teams, you can't really say they lost because they didn't really have long-term plans with them anyway. But I do like how these teams that did pick up these players address needs, and we'll just see how they pan out now.
Louis Riddick, always appreciate you, buddy. Enjoy this Sunday of football, man. You know I'll be watching you Monday night. You take it easy.
You got it.
All right, the one and only Louis Riddick right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN is always the number to call. That's 888-729-3776. Let's get back to the phones. Let's go to Robert. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Robert.
Hey, Stephen A., thank you for taking my call.
All right.
All this talk with the Lakers coach possibly being Jackson, my question is, with LeBron James being the Illuminati who controls the NBA, who's to say that, is there any rumblings or rumors of Tyronn Lue possibly coaching this team?
No, people have called up here and asked that since they've heard about his firing, but I've heard no rumors of that ilk at all. I would tell you that if Tyronn Lue would land in Los Angeles, that would definitely provide official notification that LeBron James is running the Lakers organization and not Magic Johnson, because that would be the only way to make sense of that move. That's not to knock Tyronn Lue in any way. I like Tyronn Lue, and he's a champion as a coach, but the reality is that would have LeBron James written all over it, which I don't think Magic would want. I think Magic would go in another direction before he did that.
Wow, interesting to hear you say that, because that's what we believe. LeBron is running the NBA. So thank you, sir.
Take it easy. Not a problem. Let's go to Ray. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Ray? Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A. I just wanted to say quickly, you had a caller call in and ask you who you thought would be the worst team during the NFL season, and you actually said Oakland. And at the time, I didn't foresee it. So I just wanted to give you kudos for that, because I don't know how you saw that, but there I.
What do you mean you don't know how I saw that? I saw that they couldn't play.
I know, but at the time they still had some talent. You know, they had Carr and those guys, and I thought.
Well, I knew they weren't going to keep Khalil Mack. In all seriousness, I knew they weren't going to keep Khalil Mack, and I knew that was going to be a huge distraction for this team. You know, Don, when you listen, there are certain players that are stars, superstars, and then you know who the really, really special ones are? The culture changers. When Khalil Mack was a culture changer. You understand? He changed the Raiders' identity back to what it used to be. You don't mess with that. John Gruden and Mark Davis, or maybe it was just Mark Davis, did a colossal error by messing with that. That's what they did.
One more thing, Stephen A., if I may, before I head out. I just want to give you an analogy, and you tell me if it's fair or not. And this is in light of Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady this upcoming weekend. But if I ask you who was a better point guard between Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, what would your answer be to me?
Pure point guard would be Chris Paul. But Chris Paul doesn't have his athleticism and explosiveness. It's not even in the same ballpark. But in terms of being a floor general, an orchestrator, a captain on the court that runs a show for a team, there's no question that Chris Paul may be the best point guard of this generation.
You're going to agree to say that it doesn't really, your physical acumen doesn't necessarily mean you're better than somebody else at the position. It doesn't mean that. And I want to say, is it fair for me to make the same analogy between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? I know Aaron Rodgers is great, Stephen.
It's two different. It's two different sports.
Is it fair?
It's two different sports. It is fair. It is fair. It's two different sports. But I appreciate the call. Thank you. Let's go to Manuel. And what's up? You're live with Stephen A. What's going on, Manuel?
Hey, Stephen A. Appreciate taking my call. Love your show, man. Keep up the good work, bro.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, a few questions, bro. My first one is the Luke Walton situation. I believe that Luke Walton, I don't think he knows what he's doing as far as he's not being a real good coach, bro, because I just feel like he should be rotating his players, subbing his players better than what he's been. I think he should control LeBron James's minutes in the fourth quarter than what he has. I mean, the game against San Antonio, when he went in overtime, he played him the whole fourth quarter. So when it came into overtime, he was really winded, and he missed a couple of shots and a couple of free throws. And I just think if he was more refreshed and managed his minutes in the fourth, he would have a
Well, that's a good point. He was winded against San Antonio. Didn't appear winded against a couple of other folks. And that might be something Luke Walton may need to manage. He's figuring it out as he goes along. But in the end, the Lakers can't give up 121 points a game.
No,
they
you're
just
correct
can't.
on that.
They got to defend. It's just that simple. We can slice it any way they want to. If they had the capability to make stops we wouldn't even be having this discussion. And that's what this comes down to. I got to run. I appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. More of your phone calls in a minute. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. By the way, fellas, it's fall, and it's time to take advantage of that cool, crisp weather. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. Plus, it's football season, and the time is now to jump on those tickets. For all your ticket needs, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN to get 10% off your first order. Get out. Go have an experience, fellas. Get out to the game and use what I use. That's Vivid Seats. Again, more of your calls in a minute. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A. By the way, I'm going to get into a little UFC as well, considering the fact that Daniel Cormier is fighting Derek Lewis for the heavyweight championship of the world in the UFC. I've grown to like the UFC a hell of a lot more than I thought I would. I really, really do. I'm looking forward to that fight tomorrow night as well. We'll be talking about that in a little bit more in a minute as well. Stick around. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
When a player doesn't like a contract, they hold out, right? Well, with Straight Talk Wireless, you never have to because there is no contract. And they use the same exact 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
Barbasol making razors? Well, that's a no-brainer. Try the Barbasol Ultra 6 Plus today.
Car guys know not all motor oils are created equal, because when your engine hits 75,000 miles, cheaper motor oils won't do. That's why Valvoline created full synthetic high mileage with Max Life technology, designed to fight sludge, condition seals, and better protect critical engine components as your engine ages. Keep your high mileage ride driving well into the future. Valvoline, trusted for 150 years. Now at Advanced Auto Parts, buy 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic high mileage and a filter for just $33.99. Terms and conditions may apply.
Before you start your next project, save big on the Craftsman 51-piece mechanics tool set at Lowe's. Includes drive tools, sockets, extension, and a 120-tooth ratchet with a 3-degree arc swing, perfect for tight spaces. Backed by a lifetime warranty, it's only $59.98, so you save $20. Get your hands on one today at Lowe's, the new home of Craftsman. Offer valid October 31st through November 7th while supplies last. See store for details. U.S. only.
There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Tonight's forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies. In Alamogordo, expect an overnight low of 43. For Cloudcroft, a low of 30. Tomorrow, we're looking at sunny and a little warmer during the daytime. In Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 70, low of 41. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 57 and an overnight low of 26.
If you're looking for a super soft carpet, Mohawk Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean is sink your toes in soft. Achieving the soft, luxurious feel of Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean requires a new yarn with 3 times the amount of fiber found in ordinary soft nylon carpets. Visit Showcase Carpet and Tile at 806 New York Avenue to learn more about Smart Strand Forever Clean, the toughest, softest, easiest to clean carpet on the planet.
Showcase Carpet and Tile, your one-stop shop from decorating.
I'm tired of the corruption in Santa Fe.
Well, did you hear about our local state representative?
You mean Rick Little?
Yeah, politician Rick Little. He owns a trucking and moving company, and his first bill in the legislature was to allow heavier trucks on our roads, leaving taxpayers with the bill for repairing the roads when they get damaged by the trucks.
He used his official position to help his own business?
Yep. He wanted to put heavier trucks on the road and leave us to pay to repair the damage those trucks cause.
That's terrible. Doña Ana and Otero counties deserve a representative who fights for us, not himself.
Well, that's not Rick Little.
There's just too much corruption in Santa Fe.
Yep. I'm not voting for Rick Little for state representative.
Me neither. Let's tell Rick Little to hit the road.
Paid for by Patriot Majority New Mexico.
Fall is here and winter's on its way. I bet you want to get your house nice, cozy, and warm and comfortable for all of your holiday guests. Call and schedule your free estimate with MGS Refrigeration and mention this ad and receive 10% off a complete heating and cooling system installed and receive a free Wi-Fi thermostat. Call MGS Refrigeration at 443-1249 or mgsrefrigeration.com.
Gobble, gobble, it's turkey time.
Time after time, year after year, Brown Bag Deli is your irresistibly favorite deli sandwich shop in Otero County. Maybe it's our boar's head meats and cheeses, or that we're open 7 days a week. Maybe it's because the BBD can turn your favorite sub into your new favorite salad. Call in your order to go and enjoy your irresistible favorite even faster. 437-9751. The Brown Bag Deli, 9th in Washington, across from City Hall. Simply irresistible.
Exceptional healthcare is closer than you think. Join Gerald Champion Regional Medical Center for their 30th annual Community Health Fair, Saturday, November 3rd, 8 to noon, 2669 Scenic Drive on the GCRMC campus. $10 flu shots, glucose, BMI, depression, sleep, and blood pressure screenings, discounted lipid panels, door prizes, and more. Bring your meds for a med check with registered pharmacists. It's all happening Saturday, November 3rd, 8 to noon, Gerald Champion's biggest and best health fair yet.
I was driving home from work.
I get off the bus on my way home from work.
I drive the same way every day.
I get off the same stop every day.
Driving through the intersection.
Walking through the intersection.
I didn't even see her.
I didn't even see him. Then it was too late.
When you're walking.
When you're driving, look for me.
Drivers, look for pedestrians. Pedestrians, look for drivers. Sponsored by NMDOT and aired in cooperation with the NMBA and this station.
Lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Every Major League ball club knows that having a strong team with the right people on it is absolutely essential to having a great season. That's also why people looking to hire decide to post open jobs on LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs takes the time to learn more about who you're looking for and then recommends qualified candidates from their community of engaged and career-minded people, candidates who you likely won't be able to reach anywhere else. Over 70% of the U.S. workforce is on LinkedIn, and posting your job on LinkedIn gives you the best chance of finding and starting a conversation with your next star recruit. It's no surprise a new hire is made every 10 seconds using LinkedIn. So build your winning team by posting a job on LinkedIn and visit linkedin.com/sports to get $50 off your first job post. LinkedIn.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
What would you call a toilet that cleans itself? Impossible? Magic? A pipe dream? At American Standard, we simply call it a VorMax toilet. VorMax flushing technology gets the bowl 2 times cleaner than standard bowls with just water and is available in a variety of styles and options. And listen up, plumbers. Now through November 30th, you can receive a $25 incentive on each VorMax toilet purchased. Enter code RADIO on myvormax.com to learn more on rules and enrollment.
Your source for the worldwide leader in sports radio is ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-FLOWERS Twitter feed.
A reminder that we're taking the show, the Stephen A. Smith Show, on the road next week. And we'll be live from Dallas and Los Angeles all of next week. That's being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776 live. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. I got Daniel Cormier winning the UFC heavyweight championship tomorrow night. He's a champion right now. This big boy, Derek Lewis, won at UFC 229 in Las Vegas on October 6th. I'm sorry. Here's my thing, and I asked Dana White, the president of the UFC, this yesterday. He came on my show First Take on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. And I said to him, this guy, Derek Lewis, is about 250, 260 pounds, packs a knockout punch, tremendous power, okay? He's got tremendous power. He knocks people out. But in the same breath, he's not in the greatest shape in the world. He's got a lifetime deal with Popeye's Chicken. I'm not exaggerating. This is not made up, y'all. This is not made up. He's got a lifetime deal. A lifetime deal with Popeye's Chicken. So I guess for me, ladies and gentlemen, what I would ask is, if you got a lifetime deal with Popeyes, why are you in the octagon a month after winning in a UFC battle that went about 4 rounds? I mean, listen, I'm hoping the guy's all right. I love me some Daniel Cormier. My favorite of all of them is John Bones Jones. He's my favorite in the world. And I hope that he's clean, he's staying clean, and he's going to come back. He's the greatest talent that I've seen in UFC history. And I'm rooting for him to come back. I really am. But Derek Lewis, Daniel Cormier, I mean, my goodness. Listen, Daniel Cormier could lose because Derek packs that kind of punch. But I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it, though. There's only one man I never thought that Daniel Cormier would ever beat John Bones Jones, ever. And I still don't. That's about all. He'll beat anybody else. 888 say ESPN. And by the way, also, let me not forget, Alabama is playing LSU tomorrow night, ABC, nationally televised game. Number 1 versus number 3 ranked team in the nation. Alabama's a 14.5-point favorite. I really, really wish somebody could just break the spread on these boys. Alabama's that special, y'all. Tua Tagovailoa, this brother is special. Special. I see Alabama, roll tide, rolling on through LSU. Mark my words. Let's go to Eric in Tennessee. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Eric? Eric, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Talk to me, man. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I got a 2-part question.
Go ahead.
Why are they complaining about Alabama's schedule when it's made 4 or 5 years ahead of schedule?
I have no clue. Don't make any sense to complain about the schedule.
The second part question is they got this panel that chooses the top 25.
Yep.
Why don't they get 6 or 7 more people on the top panel like you and 4 or 5 other people, make the schedule 4 or 5 years in advance and then try for 1 year to see how to reschedule everybody so they can't say Alabama's playing cupcakes?
Well, first of all, I don't think Alabama's in the SEC conference. I think people know better. It's not a matter of cupcakes or whatever. It's that you're trying to get 4 teams into the playoff system, and the committee values strength of schedule to some degree. If you really, really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it all, I think there should be 8 to 12. There should be an 8 to 12 team playoff system. That's what I think it should be. That's my personal opinion. Then I think problem solved, because a lot of the top program that wants a chance, I think they'll get it. I really do. And then we'll go from there. Appreciate the call, though. Thank you so much. Let's go to Alex. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Alex?
Hey, Stephen A., I had a really quick question. Why is nobody talking about this KCP? Because KCP signing was the worst signing that Magic could have done. Mm-hmm. And if you're really watching, I've watched the Lakers sign Mozgov, Dang, now KCP. When you had somebody like Julius Randle, and now you're weak at center, and Julius Randle played center, and Luke Walton
playing like a monster, and then coming off the bench for New Orleans now. I never wanted to lose Julius Randle. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope can play. He's not a scrub. But I will say this to you. He's represented by Rich Paul, who does a great, great job. But in the same breath, we also know who his number 1 client is. That's LeBron. And then you sign KCP a year earlier. You give him $17 million, $18 million for 1 year. And then you get LeBron. You do have people out there sitting there talking about, come on, Stephen A., smell the Old Spice. Can't you see what happened here? You want LeBron, and you're going to capitulate to him and appease him in any way you possibly can. But now that LeBron is in L.A., of course, there's a lot of question marks as to what could be better around him. Nobody's denying that.
I'm not just saying that. I'm just saying Luke Walton was on quote saying that this kid could have been one of the best defensive players in the league, and then you took his defensive leader And then all of a sudden, now you're complaining about the defense. That makes no sense, and that's throwing him under the bus, and that's just terrible. That's a man's job, and honestly, now that means you got to talk to him, and what piece do you need? They need to be talking to Luke Walton, not talking about his job.
Hold on, who needs to be Who needs to be talking to Luke Walton?
Magic, because the
okay, because see, you got to understand. See, people like you call up and you act like you're talking to yourself. You're talking to a national audience. They didn't understand what the hell you were talking about because you lost me for a second here. Now I get what you're saying. You're saying Luke Magic and them need to be talking to Luke Walton before they make these decisions?
Yeah, because he's going to have to, ultimately make this recipe work. You got to at least talk to the man.
Who's to say that? Who's to say they didn't?
Because guess what? This is how I know they didn't. Because if a man is on quote saying that this is our best defensive player and the leader of our defensive unit, you're telling me he's going to not want him there?
Well, you got to remember. Well, wait a minute. That's just now you being silly. Because if you understand this, you understand that Julius Randle could play. And Julius Randle at some point in time is going to be looking for his money. And if you're the Los Angeles Lakers and you know that you're not going to have that money to give him, then you've got something else to deal with there. So that could be challenging in and of itself. You can't dismiss the notion that money may have ended up playing a role in a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. You can't just summarily dismiss that.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying this is why I like Zach Lowe, because he would probably say something like mix up the contract. You see how you paid KCP a certain amount of money, and in contracts what happens is you get more of your money first?
Right. Yeah, I got you. And Julius Randle's at $8.6 million, got a player option for $9 million next season. So, again, I do get your point, and there is some validity to it. I can't dismiss that. I appreciate the call, though, Alex. Thank you so much. Bruce, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Bruce.
Hi, Stephen A. I'm retired. Your show makes my day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question from Pittsburgh. I'm in Pittsburgh, and for years, Dick LeBeau, the zone blitz, you knew 1, 2, or 3, they're drafting a linebacker. Mm-hmm. Is it better, just in theory, you had to make the choice between a linebacker or a shutdown corner? They're changing a little, but just your thoughts on that. You're a smarter man than me.
In terms of what? What exactly are you asking me, sir?
Well, they always draft a linebacker thinking they're going to get to the quarterback and cover their, protect their secondary.
You talk about the Steelers?
Steelers or just in general. Wouldn't it be better to get the cover corner?
I always believe it's better to get an elite cover corner because an elite cover corner takes away an entire side of the field. Especially when you're so elite that people are scared to throw in your direction. You've basically confiscated the last half of the field. That's what you've done. So I definitely don't have any problem with that, and I can appreciate that. You're absolutely right. But if you got an elite pass rusher, particularly from that linebacker spot, that's a great run stopper, plus he's incredibly adroit and skilled at getting at the quarterback, you got a different kind of problem you got to deal with there.
Okay, well,
all right.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's go to Glenn. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Glenn?
Hey, Stephen A.
Talk to me.
Hey, love your show. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it, man.
I got a problem. Being a fan of the NBA since the 80s and seeing guys grit it out and playing a whole season, do you think it's robbery to the fans for players to sit out because they're resting?
Yes.
So as an organization,
I think if you're not hurt, you should show up. Now, you could play reduced minutes, but guys just taking time off, I got a problem with that. Absolutely, always have.
So as an organization, how do you comp ticket holders their money back?
They don't.
If I'm a Charlotte Hornets fan and I want to see
They don't have to. They never promised you that certain players were going to play. They said to you, this is our team. You're buying tickets to come and see our team. Now, we know the stars are who ultimately are attracted, and we get that. And sometimes, unfortunately, we see too many of them sitting out. But what they promised you with your tickets was never that you were going to see an individual player. They promised you that you would see their team, that their team and their semblance of a team would show up. So, that's just the way it is.
If I'm in Brooklyn, I'm not going to see the Nets play. If the Milwaukee Bucks are coming to town and I buy that ticket, I want to see Greek the Freak. If he sits out, that's fraud in my eyes.
That is fraud in your eyes, not in theirs. Because they never told you would definitely see the Greek Freak play when you booked your tickets. They said they're playing the Milwaukee Bucks. That's their argument. I find it disgusting, but it's true. which is why Adam Silver moved the scheduling up to omit those back-to-back-to-back encounters and minimize back-to-back encounters. That way, guys wouldn't have the excuse to sit out nationally televised games or when they were going to town to sit out those games. Adam Silver and the league office has done everything to eradicate the very problem that you've alluded to. But you know what? You can't completely and totally omit it. You just can't.
Respect.
All right? Thanks a lot. I appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, is presented by Progressive Insurance. This year, we celebrate 6 years and over 600 cars given to veterans, giving thanks by providing independence for those who protect it. Learn more at keystoprogress.com. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Stephen A. About to close out the show for this week in a minute. Right back at you.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
Hey, what's up? It's Will Kane. Coming up right after Stephen A. Smith, join us on The Will Kane Show, live on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News.
What would you call a toilet that cleans itself? Impossible? Magic? A pipe dream? At American Standard, we simply call it a VorMax toilet. VorMax flushing technology gets the bowl 2 times cleaner than standard bowls with just water and is available in a variety of styles and options. And listen up, plumbers. Now through November 30th, you can receive a $25 incentive on each VorMax toilet purchased. Enter code RADIO on myvormax.com to learn more on rules and enrollment.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Citizens, my name is Jeff Swanson. We deserve our Second Amendment rights and responsibilities protected. Right here and right now in Alamogordo and Otero County, I'm your guy, and here's why. I started shooting when I was 8 years old. I own and shoot firearms, hunt and hand load too. You will be served well and listened to by me. Your firearm rights are safe with me. Let's be law-abiding, safe, Constitution-loving, straight-shooting Americans. Vote for me and I'll work for you. Paid for by elect Jeff Swanson, Karen Hutchison, Treasurer.
No! Come on, man! Howard is sacked for the 4th time today, and the clock runs out.
That was worse than last week's game.
You know what else has gotten worse? The news about Yvette Harrell.
What, you're kidding? What'd she do this time?
When Yvette was state rep, she funneled $500,000 in taxpayer money to an organization run by her mother.
Hold on, I thought $500,000 of our money went to Harrell's company.
It did.
Oh, that's a selfish play.
So now we're talking almost $1 million of our money, and part of it went to Harrell's company, and the rest of it went to her mother's organization?
Yep, and don't forget the thousands she spent on the trip she took across the country.
How does this keep happening?
Man, flag on the play, Yvette.
You know, Harrell's fellow Republicans flagged it too, and warned she's only in it for herself.
Can't argue with that call.
Nope. Time to take Yvette Harrell out of the game.
Paid for by DCCC, dccc.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing every state has in common: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids don't know where their next meal is coming from, or if it's even coming at all. Yet there are billions of pounds of surplus food around the country at farms and warehouses that could help end this injustice. But all that food is useless if it doesn't get where it needs to go. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank. Find out how at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. Feedthepig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
I guess I called AA because alcohol didn't work anymore. Drinking used to give me a sense of meaning in life. I called AA not knowing what to expect. Certainly not cheerfulness, but that's what I got. People had humor. They seemed to be at ease. I hung around. Now I feel much more comfortable with myself and the people around me. Alcoholics Anonymous. It works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
For the local AA hotline, call 430-9502. That's 430-9502.
ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Hi, it's Paul Feinbaum. We're back live taking your phone calls, 855-242-PAUL.
Mr. Feinbaum.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, Friday at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and the SEC Network.
Escúchame, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You read any of the details after I told you yesterday about how Whitey Bulger was killed. The details are coming out, and it is a bit staggering. Why have you not read about this? Why is it stupid for me to ask you whether you've read anything about Whitey Bulger's death?
Because I don't read. Know your teammates, man.
All right, so Whitey Bulger's 89 years old. Or he was 89 years old. He was in a wheelchair.
It's a real tragedy, man. I love the greatest show on turf.
The same joke that you did yesterday? You're going to go with another Mark Bulger joke?
Not Mark?
He was also a Whitey Bulger. No, it's not Mark Bulger. I just feel like yesterday we did this already, and that's all you've got is the only thing in your library is a stiff Mark Bulger joke.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Everybody else is focused on Brady versus Rodgers, but I want to talk about Goff versus Breeze because that's your NFC Championship game preview.
The Will Kane Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
This is ESPN Radio on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Get triple action protection for optimal engine performance with Shell V-Power Nitro plus premium gasoline. Told y'all I'm looking to that UFC fight tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. Looking forward to Alabama going up against LSU. Hopefully my man Ryan Clark won't be scared to go to the game since he lives in Baton Rouge and he's an NFL analyst and an LSU alum. He should go to the game. Don't be scared. Go watch Roll Tide. Roll over the Tigers. How about that? Okay? I'm definitely looking forward to these games on Sunday. Steelers will beat the Ravens. Saints, I anticipate, will beat the Los Angeles Rams, and Tom Brady and the Patriots probably will beat Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers. Before I do any of that, I'm going to go vote. I'm going to vote early. I encourage everybody to do the same. Ain't nobody getting into politics and telling you who to vote for, but I'm just saying, as American citizens, we should vote. That's what I'm going to do. Just wanted to make sure I put that out there. Let's get back to the phones. 888-SAY-ESPN. Myron, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Myron, real quick.
How you doing, Stephen A?
I'm good. What's up?
All right. First off, watch the show all the time, man. Glad for you to have me on. I just wanted to ask you. I on the record, I know you compliment the Saints a lot. You're a Drew Brees fan and whatnot. To make that known. But I still feel like Drew Brees is very underrated, and he should be along the same lines.
My man, do you have a question? I'm running out of time. Come on, bro, get it out. Give me the question.
All right. So why you don't give Drew Brees the same hoorah that you giving that you and most people give Aaron Rodgers, your man, and Tom Brady.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day. I'm not even listening to that. Drew Brees has been a guest on this show. I have, on the record, stated on several occasions we should mention Drew Brees in the same breath as Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. I'm not the person to call up and ask why are we not giving Drew Brees any love. You're inaccurate, and you don't get to get away with that on this show, particularly when I'm running out of time. Let's go to Aaron. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Aaron. Go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A., I got two really quick questions. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right.
First question, I wanted to know, what do you think the best go-to lineup for the Lakers would be down the stretch?
Me personally, LeBron James. Believe it or not, JaVale McGee, the way he's balling. I would say Kuzma, Hart, and Rondo. What's your second question?
Okay, second question. I want to know, what do you think the impact of a finals without LeBron James in it and then Kevin Durant solely in it, showing his greatness, will have on LeBron's status as the best player? No,
I think it could possibly impact LeBron. If LeBron, I don't think that's what's going to impact LeBron's status as the greatest player ever, the greatest player in the game today. I think what's going to impact it is the fact that all them brothers are coming. Look at the way Kawhi is playing. Look at the way the Greek Freak is playing. Look at the show that Steph Curry is putting on. Look at Kevin Durant. When Steph Curry drops 50, Kevin Durant quietly has 30. When Klay Thompson drops 51, 52, Kevin Durant quietly has 30. I mean, this is something special to behold. So I look at it from that perspective. But anyway, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm looking forward to having a wonderful weekend. I hope y'all do the same. And I'll be back with you Monday. Until then, peace and love, everybody. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. God bless.
Hey, what's up? It's Will Kane. Coming up right after Stephen A. Smith. Join us on The Will Kane Show, live on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News.
Hey, Molly Karam here, host of ESPN's First Take, and I am super excited because football is back, and you know where you'll find me this fall, at the game, thanks to Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. With the Vivid Seats app, it's so easy to find awesome seats to any game, and every purchase is backed by their 100% buyer guarantee. Head to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Get in the action with Vivid Seats. Your team needs you.
Guaranteed promotional terms available on vividseats.com.
Hey, I'm Clark. I work at the drugstore, and I hate my job. People are always asking me these annoying questions, like, will this soap dry my skin out? Can you unlock the razor case? Will you please ring me up? I'm not like a soap-having ring-up keymaster wizard, okay? Just buy all your bathroom stuff at DollarShaveClub.com. They'll deliver all your bathroom stuff, so you don't have to come to my store and bother me when I'm trying to text my girlfriend's friend.
Right now, get our 3 most popular grooming products and our best razor for just $5. Only at DollarShaveClub.com/radio. That's DollarShaveClub.com/radio. There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Tonight's forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies. In Alamogordo, expect an overnight low of 43. For Cloudcroft, a low of 30. Tomorrow, we're looking at sunny and a little warmer during the daytime. In Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 70, low of 41. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 57 and an overnight low of 26.
There's an election next Tuesday for the U.S. Congress. And lucky for us, there's a different kind of candidate running this year. Her name is Xochitl Torres Small. She's the only candidate running this year who's not a politician. And you can really tell by what she stands for. Have a listen for yourself.
I've been all over southern New Mexico. And you know what I've learned? If we want to start solving problems again, we have to talk to each other. We have to work together. I believe good ideas don't come with a party label. I'll work with anyone, Republican, Democrat, Independent, anyone who wants to deliver for New Mexico. I'm Xochitl Torres Small. It would be an honor to have your vote next Tuesday.
This Tuesday, vote Xochitl Torres Small for Congress. You'll be glad you did.
I'm Xochitl Torres Small, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message. Paid for by Xochitl for New Mexico.
Where was the first time you remember seeing The Addams Family? Was it the creepy cartoons from creator Charles Addams, the television show back in the 60s, maybe the movies back in the 90s, or maybe this will be your first time? Alamogordo Music Theater is proud to present their fall show, Addams Family, the musical. It's Gomez, Morticia, Fester, and the rest of the family in a glitzy, gloomy musical full of memorable characters and just a touch of the macabre. Show dates are November 2nd, 3rd, 9th, and 10th at 7 p.m. with a Sunday the 4th matinee at 2. Tickets are available in advance at Books Revisited in the White Sands Mall from any cast member or at the door. Sure, they're creepy, and they're kooky, mysterious, and spooky, and altogether ooky. It's Addams Family, the musical from Alamogordo Music Theater, celebrating 60 years of timeless stage memories.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What? No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Together, we can turn a stairwell into an ER at a moment's notice. Together, we can turn a rescue ship for refugees into a maternity ward. Together, we can vaccinate 710,000 people in just 11 days. Together, we are Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders goes where others don't to provide life-saving medical care. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
What play is that? Read what's on your wristband. Tell the huddle.
Okay, guys, here's the play. It's called the That's Gonna Be on SportsCenter Hail Mary. That's gonna be on SportsCenter Hail Mary. 1, 2, 3, break!
And the quarterback drops back, throws deep, it's caught! It's caught! What a play! That's gonna be on SportsCenter. That's gonna be on SportsCenter.
Tune into SportsCenter every day on ESPN.
ESPN serves sports fans anytime, anywhere. With ESPN Plus, fans can get access to thousands of live events and original programming for only $4.99 a month. Go to the App Store, search for ESPN, download the new ESPN app, and you're one step closer to streaming glory. ESPN Plus. More sports, more leagues, more teams, more ESPN. Download the ESPN app or visit ESPN.com today.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7, Southern New Mexico's sports leader, KNMZ Alamogordo.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. With his team off to a 3-5 start, Lakers president Magic Johnson is already getting impatient. ESPN has learned Johnson was critical of head coach Luke Walton in a meeting earlier this week. One issue with some of the Lakers veterans is Walton's continued shuffling of the lineup. The Cubs today pick up the $20 million option on lefty Cole Hamels for next season. Hamels came to the Cubs in a July trade with the Rangers. The Oakland Raiders are now 1-7 under head coach John Gruden after taking a 34-3 loss to the 49ers last night. ESPN's Louis Riddick believes the Raiders players are not playing with passion.
They don't believe you believe in them,
So why should they believe in you? Why should they give maximum effort? Because there's no other way to really explain the performance last night other than a football team that just looks unplugged.
Lewis Riddick on Golic and Wingo. Last night was the last Battle of the Bay before the Raiders moved to Las Vegas. Dolphins cornerback Cordray Tankersley will miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL. Tankersley got hurt during practice on Thursday.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
This is the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio.
And on the ESPN app.
Do you believe? That's the question we have to answer. Do you believe? Do you believe John Gruden? Do you believe the Raiders can be a championship franchise? Do you believe that players want to play in the silver and black? Do you believe? Answer that. And you've answered everything you need to know about the Oakland Raiders. It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80, and on ESPN News. And you can join the conversation. 888-729-3776. Do you believe? 888-SAY-ESPN. Coming up on today's show, Hugh Jackson joined First Take this morning, had a candid, I think somewhat brave conversation. He took questions from myself, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. He addressed what it went wrong in Cleveland. He talked about Todd Haley. He talked about Baker Mayfield. Did he take accountability? A concept that seems to have been somewhat elusive to Hugh Jackson in the past. Did he take accountability today? I'll play the audio for you coming up here in just a little bit. And speaking of audio, you got to hear what Tim Tebow had to say about the University of Maryland. More than that, what Tim Tebow had to say about society. Tim Tebow almost got a standing ovation from me. I know he got a bravo, and I got to play that audio for you as well here on the Will Cain Show. But it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. It was a bad. It was an awful. It was a very gross. It was a very, very, very bad night for the Oakland Raiders and John Gruden. They lost to the San Francisco 49ers last night on Thursday Night Football, 34-3. Nick Mullen, whoever that is, was absolutely amazing. He had 152 quarterback rating, 3 touchdowns, 262 passing yards. I mean, no disrespect, but who's Nick Mullen? Nobody knew who that guy was, except for Brett Favre, apparently. Fellow Southern Miss grad was sending him texts before and after the game. But before last night, I don't even think Cerruti knew who Nick Mullen was, and Cerruti's a Niner fan.
He's an ex-Brett Favre, dude.
I bet that's what you believe.
Mullins, is it not?
Did I mess it up? Wow.
You're just saying Mullen.
Even more proof. We don't know who this guy is.
I robbed him of his plurality. I robbed him of the S. Nick Mullins. Man, was he good. And man, were the Raiders bad. They were so bad. Guys were running wide open. And then the tweets just flowed in. As you watched the game last night, it was embarrassing if you actually contributed to it because it was a little bit like yeah, me too, guys. Everybody tweeted, the Raiders quit on Gruden. The Raiders quit on Gruden. This team's quit. This team's done. Gruden's lost his team. They just filled up your timeline. The Raiders have quit on Gruden. Did they quit, Coach? Here's John Gruden.
I don't think so. I'm not going to say anything about the effort. I know there were some big plays, and I thought the guys fought until the end. We were offensively, I know we were depleted up front, had some guys playing out of position. Defensively, I thought they hung in there under some dire situations late in the game, but I'll take a look at the tape.
It looks like they quit, Coach. On the tape or in live action, it looks like they quit. Everybody tweeted it because everybody saw it. Everybody tweeted it because everybody saw it was true. Your team quit on you. But do you believe? Do you believe in this project? Do you believe in this project beyond 7 or 8 weeks? Do you believe in this project over 5 to 10 years? Do you believe John Gruden can create a championship caliber team in Oakland? Sometimes the meetings for this show can get a little bit tense. It seems to be when I'm in New York, they're more tense than when I'm in Bristol. But should we talk about X? Should we talk about Y? Tension's often in the silence. I've been a part of a lot of meetings. And it's funny, tension and antagonism rarely comes the way Cerruti tried to interject just there with a sigh. It rarely comes with it usually comes with just dead silence.
Because as usual, you're misrepresenting what happened.
I know what happened, because you know what was happening during the silence? I was taking a record. I was writing a transcript. I was writing down the things you guys said. You see, the silence was useful to me. You thought I was just checked out, but I wasn't. My pen was working furiously. And here are the notes I took from our meeting today about the Oakland Raiders. It begins with Nuno saying, "Your boy." Again, sidling me with John Gruden. Whoever he uses as the pronoun, is that what it is, or the possessive of boy, you can then know where the sentence is going afterwards. My boy, friendly sentence. Your boy, negative sentence. No matter what it starts with, my, your, our boy, whatever comes after that's somewhat unnecessary. You've got the tone of the meeting. Then we follow up with Cerruti. It looks like the league has passed him by. Then back to Nuno. In over his head, in quotation marks. And then Cerruti, quotations, 5 years of nothing in Oakland. So this is what I am confronted with. This is what I'm left to deal with. These are the responses and the tenor of our show, of this meeting, of not just that, let's not be small-minded, of the entire nation when it comes to John Gruden right now. I don't accuse you guys of being out of touch. I just accuse you of being short-sighted. Everybody believes this. Everybody believes John Gruden is in over his head, that the league has passed him by, that he's somebody else's boy. John Gruden is in trouble, according to the public. But longer than 7 weeks, longer than a 1-7 record, do you believe? First, if it's true that his team quit on him, do you believe that a coach who's lost his team in the short term can recapture it in the long term? It's a difficult question. Can you go back and get them after you've lost them? Or do you have to change the entire program out? Do you have to find new players? Because John Gruden, remember, says there are guys out there that want to play for the Raiders. Do you believe there are players out there that want to play in Oakland for John Gruden with the Raiders? It doesn't matter, 34-3. He still believes that. Listen.
I see players after every game we play that, want to be Raiders. That's been the case my whole life. And I think the brand of the Raiders is an exciting one. And I think a lot of players, no doubt, do want to play for us in the future. And I'm not going to speculate any further than that.
Are those top-end players? Or?
No, I'm not going to get into who calls me and who texts me. I've made a lot of friends in this business over the years.
Given a 10-year contract, given $100 million, given perhaps a shorter window, make it 3 to 5 years, given 3 first-round draft picks, given players that say they want to, or at least John Gruden tells us want to be a part of Oakland, given all of that, do you believe that John Gruden can build a championship team in Oakland? Because despite everything, despite the popular sentiment, and despite what went on last night, he still does. Listen to this.
I'm just trying to get people excited about the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders is a great organization. I know it's not looking pretty right now, but I've heard a lot of negativity, over the last 6 or 7 months, and rightfully so. But we're going to build a championship football team here, and I know a lot of people, as players, as fans, and, just in general, want to be a part of this.
Things are ugly, things are awful, things are gross in Oakland. I'll lose the debate if we come in on a week-to-week basis in the 2018 season and talk about trades that look bad in the short term, or losses that look awful, or players that have quit. But I know this project will be judged on a longer time horizon. Gruden's been given it, and the assets have been accumulated. Will he be able to recapture his team? Do I believe that he will? Yes. Do I believe that he will find guys that want to play for the Raiders? I do believe that. Will he be able to build a championship team in Oakland? I do believe he will build a team that contends in the AFC, given the time. It won't happen this year, and probably not next. But given 3 to 5 years, I think John Gruden and Oakland will still pull this project off. That's Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Coming up, so what? Am I too optimistic? Am I, what is it, an ostrich that sticks his head in the sand, doesn't see how awful things are going on around it? Does John Gruden have a future with Oakland. 888-SAY-ESPN. Plus, Hugh Jackson stopped by. Let's listen to what he had to say and if he did a good job of repairing his image on First Take this morning. It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Once upon a time, there was an entrepreneur with a quinceañera business. It was me. And it was difficult to hire, to find people on editorial or sales side that knew what they were doing because most job sites aren't smart. That's the way hiring used to be. They would overwhelm you with tons of the wrong resumes. Now there's a smarter way. At ZipRecruiter.com/Will. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the right people for you and actively invites them to apply. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with at least 1,000 reviews. And right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Will. That's ZipRecruiter.com/WILL. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Did Hugh Jackson take accountability for the issues in Cleveland? Hear it next in the Will Cain Show.
Always going to be ready when my name was called.
Mullins under center. Play action to Mostert. Rolling left. Throws it out of the flat. He's got Kittle. Touchdown, 49ers.
KNBR.
It was called, and so I just tried to do the best that I could.
Will Cain. More coming up.
Before you start your next project, save big on the Craftsman 51-piece mechanics tool set at Lowe's. Includes drive tools, sockets, extension, and a 120-tooth ratchet with a 3-degree arc swing, perfect for tight spaces. Backed by a lifetime warranty, it's only $59.98, so you save $20. Get your hands on one today at Lowe's, the new home of Craftsman. Offer valid October 31st through November 7th while supplies last. See store for details. U.S. only.
On this episode of the world's shortest sitcom by KFC. Like I always say, it's the inside that counts. Like what's inside my new KFC 10-piece chicken feast. It's 10 pieces of chicken, 2 large mashed potatoes, and 4 biscuits for $19.99. Get more meal for the family for under $20. That's what really matters. It's pretty incredible what chicken can teach you about life. Anyways, KFC is finger-licking good. At participating KFCs, prices may vary. Tax and substitutions extra.
There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Tonight's forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies. In Alamogordo, expect an overnight low of 43. For Cloudcroft, a low of 30. Tomorrow, we're looking at sunny and a little warmer during the daytime. In Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 70, low of 41. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 57 and an overnight low of 26.
Would you hire a doctor who resigned in disgrace and quit?
I don't think so.
Would you use a lawyer who was sued by the Department of Justice and then quit?
No way. What is this about?
Well, Michelle Grisham wants to be governor, but when she was health secretary and patients were endangered and some died, she was sued by the Department of Justice.
What was her excuse?
Grisham complained in the Albuquerque Journal that being health secretary was, quote, the hardest job on the planet, unquote.
And now she wants to be governor?
Yep. In Congress, she never wrote one bill that became law.
Not even one? What's she going to do as governor?
She failed as health secretary. Her company received shady government contracts from Bill Richardson's cronies. She got sued. She resigned in disgrace. She's going to be another embarrassing failure for our state.
I think it's time for proven leadership for New Mexico, and that's Steve Pierce.
Steve Pierce will fix education, tackle poverty, create jobs, and get violent criminals off the streets. I'm voting for Steve Pierce for governor on November 6th.
Paid for by Pierce for New Mexico. James Francis, Treasurer.
I'm tired of the corruption in Santa Fe.
Well, did you hear about our local state representative?
You mean Rick Little?
Yeah, politician Rick Little. He owns a trucking and moving company, and his first bill in the legislature was to allow heavier trucks on our roads, leaving taxpayers with the bill for repairing the roads when they get damaged by the trucks.
He used his official position to help his own business?
Yep. He wanted to put heavier trucks on the road and leave us to pay to repair the damage those trucks cause.
That's terrible. Doña Ana and Otero counties deserve a representative who fights for us, not himself.
Well, that's not Rick Little.
There's just too much corruption in Santa Fe.
Yep. I'm not voting for Rick Little for state representative.
Me neither. Let's tell Rick Little to hit the road.
Paid for by Patriot Majority New Mexico.
Fall is here and winter's on its way. I bet you want to get your house nice, cozy, and warm and comfortable for all of your holiday guests. Call and schedule your free estimate with MGS Refrigeration and mention this ad and receive 10% off a complete heating and cooling system installed and receive a free Wi-Fi thermostat. Call MGS Refrigeration at 443-1249 or mgsrefrigeration.com.
Gobble, gobble, it's turkey time.
Stop by Dollar Boots and Jeans and check out all the new arrivals to keep you warm this winter. Fresh arrivals of outerwear, men's sports coats, and felt hats. New selections of Montana Silversmith jewelry, purses, and wallets. Men's and women's flannel shirts and hoodies. Holiday decor, including Christmas decorations, available. Dollar Boots and Jeans, 2850 North White Sands in Alamogordo.
Dollar Boots and Jeans, you're gonna like our style.
Exceptional healthcare is closer than you think. Join Gerald Champion Regional Medical Center for their 30th annual Community Health Fair, Saturday, November 3rd, 8 to noon, 2669 Scenic Drive on the GCRMC campus. $10 flu shots, glucose, BMI, depression, sleep, and blood pressure screenings, discounted lipid panels, door prizes, and more. Bring your meds for a med check with registered pharmacists. It's all happening Saturday, November 3rd, 8 to noon, Gerald Champion's biggest and best health fair yet.
In the Tularosa Basin is ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
.36-1 record as the head coach in 2 years and throw other
Hold that thought. Breaking news into my ear right now. They just let him go.
Hugh Jackson.
Yeah. Hugh Jackson has been fired as head coach of the Browns.
He was just fired. Hugh Jackson had not won a road game as a head coach.
How do you convince somebody to come to Cleveland? How do you convince somebody to be the coach of the Cleveland Browns and tell them that it's going to be different?
I think the message today is we're not going to put up with internal discord, that we want people who are collaborative and work together.
It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80. And on ESPN News, former Cleveland Browns head coach Hugh Jackson stopped by First Take this morning. He answered 2 segments worth of questions, direct questions about what went down in Cleveland, how much of it was his fault, his relationship with Todd Haley, and what he thinks of Baker Mayfield. I've got all the sound, and you need to hear it coming up in just a moment. The Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. So before I get into Hugh Jackson, I'm told you have a little bit of a bone to pick, an axe to grind. You have a rebuttal on the way our meeting went down and my characterization of your John Gruden takes.
It's less about the characterization of the Gruden takes and more about just your general mood and attitude this morning. Well, I guess this afternoon. You know, just because you don't like hosting First Take doesn't mean you have to take it out on the staff. Like, we get it. You don't like it. You're in a bad mood. You come in. You're cranky. And then you start throwing accusations about our John Gruden takes at us, and it creates a hostile environment in the pre-show meeting.
That's not how it went down, first of all.
Yeah. Our boy Cerruti got it right.
Yeah, our boy. I like hosting First Take. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't... I want to say I wasn't cranky, but I'm a little cranky today. It's true.
You didn't even want to defend... When we brought up Gruden, you didn't even want to defend him. Like, you were hesitant and everything else. And all of a sudden, I don't know if it was some sort of anger towards us, specifically me. Like, and it just triggered you. And you were like, we're going to do this on air. Like,
here's what gets it. Yeah, that's right. Now I remember. This is what, I can remember now why I got upset. Here's the thing. I can recognize, like anybody else, that things aren't going swimmingly in Oakland. I mean, here's the thing. I watch the game and go, whew, this is a stinker up there. But the minute I talk to you guys, it's like I have some personal ownership in it. Like, oh, what are you going to do with your boy now? Huh? You going to take ownership of this, or are you going to be a complete homer? And the other thing so it's like, my loss in Oakland, my problem. I'm contributing to this environment. But secondarily, here's what really irritates me, is you're just part of the pitchfork-wielding mob. Once again, that's all it is. You know, I don't even know how to,
Here we go. Always comes back to that. The mob mentality. Can't have sometimes the mob is right.
That's right. That's what the mob always tells himself. You think the mob ever gathers up together, grabs their pitchfork, and goes, you know what, guys, I think we're getting this one wrong, but let's go ahead and stick them anyway? Nah, they always say sometimes the mob gets it right. That's What happens when you're walking around the crowd like you are right now? I just don't understand the Goldilocks scenario that somebody has to hit to totally make you mobsters happy. Like, if Chip Kelly comes in and he's way too innovative and he's got too many ideas and he wants to shake up the league and how it's done, well, how dare you think you know better than everybody else? You're not a genius. Let's all celebrate when you fail and do our best to crush you at every turn. And then on the other hand, if John Gruden comes in and goes, I'm going to do it old school. I'm not into all this fancy pants analytics. I'm going to do it old school football, knock heads kind of way. And you're like, this guy, game's passed him by. What does this guy think? He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like some Goldilocks zone of bland nothingness.
Can you just admit that hosting First Take this morning put you in a mood?
That's not what did it, I don't think. I don't know. My wife one time said to me, let me tell you something. Bad moods don't just happen. You don't step in them like something on the sidewalk. You have some control over it. I literally called her today and go, I don't think I had any control over this one. I think that Nuno and Cerruti came at me. I think that I am not responsible for this today. Daniel from Ohio, you're on the Will Cain Show.
Hey, Will. I'm a big fan. I just wanted to talk about something you said about the Raiders and John Gruden.
Yeah.
You got to think, he must have pitched some kind of 10-year plan where it results in the first year not being so great and 9 Super Bowls right after, because when he was in Tampa Bay, that team was already set up for him by Tony Dungy. He didn't really build that team. So, you gotta think that he has some kind of master plan that really isn't working out so far. But the
master plan, Daniel, would have to be, and I appreciate the call, would be, hey, you know what? This team's not the 12-14 from 2 years ago. This is the 4-12 team, or rather, what were they last year? 6-10? What were they last year? 6-10?
Yeah, 6-10, I think.
Yeah, 6-10 team from a year ago. This team isn't good, and so he's unloading to build for the future. Now, that's certainly what he's banking on. Not that, wow, this is a quick turnaround project to be 12-4 again. Master plan is this has been a long-term deal. And I just think if it's a long-term deal, and we're all going to sit here and freak out at every game midway through the season, that's how you do panic firings. Pat from Iowa, you're on the Will Cain Show.
Hey, how you doing today, Will? I appreciate your take on Coach Gruden. I think you're spot on. Not to be over cliche-ish here, but patience is a virtue here. And Coach Gruden is one of a finite number of coaches in the league that has proven that he has the ability to round the troops and to get them in the direction and to be a champion. And so I think you're spot on. Everyone just relax. Yeah, there are going to be some bumps in the road here, but let's let him get these guys molded. Let's let him lead them. He can do it.
All right. Thanks for the call, Pat. See there? See there? Sources of my bad mood. See there, Cerruti? See there, Nuno? You're impatient. That's the issue. Hugh Jackson, let's shift gears here, showed up on First Take today. I want to say this. I do respect what Hugh Jackson what he did today. Meaning this. It's, these guys get fired and it's easy to put out a press release, have maybe one press conference and then disappear and hope to rehabilitate yourself on the next job. He had to have known when he walked into First Take with me, Max, and Stephen A. that he was going to face some direct and uncomfortable questions. And yet he did it anyway. Now, I'm not saying I'm agreeing with everything he had to say, and I'm not saying he's pulled it off perfectly. But I am saying I do respect that he faced the fire. Now, I'll play for you some of the things he had to say. Did he take accountability? What's he have to say about Baker Mayfield? And most importantly, maybe, what's he have to say about Todd Haley and whether or not that relationship was why he lost his job? Plus, we got an NFL draft expert. Let's ask him if my optimism on the Raiders is justified. And we'll get into some of the biggest matchups of the weekend, including a potential NFC championship preview. It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Will Cain. The Will Cain Show is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Will Cain gives you more. Next.
No! Come on, man!
Howard
is sacked for the 4th time today, and the clock runs out.
That was worse than last week's game.
You know what else has gotten worse? The news about Yvette Harrell.
What, you're kidding? What'd she do this time?
When Yvette was state rep, she funneled $500,000 in taxpayer money to an organization run by her mother.
Hold on, I thought $500,000 of our money went to Harrell's company.
It did.
Oh, that's a selfish play.
So now we're talking almost $1 million of our money, and part of it went to Harrell's company, and the rest of it went to her mother's organization?
Yep, and don't forget the thousands she spent on the trip she took across the country.
How does this keep happening?
Man, flag on the play, Yvette.
You know, Harrell's fellow Republicans flagged it too, and warned she's only in it for herself.
Can't argue with that call.
Nope. Time to take Yvette Harrell out of the game.
Paid for by DCCC, dccc.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
As part of the ongoing effort to keep the roads of New Mexico safe, we would like to share a list of things you should never attempt behind the wheel of your automobile.
Texting your friends, wrestling your friends, eating a sandwich, making a sandwich, hugging your kids, buckling your kids, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth, adjusting your seat, rubbing your feet, reading the paper, using a shaver, applying makeup,
you get the point. A large number of car crashes occur when the driver is doing something other than driving. Drive safe, New Mexico.
Paid for by the New Mexico Department of Transportation and aired in cooperation with the NMBA and the station.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
A lot can happen in 6 seconds. A rodeo ride, a dramatic basketball win, and the world record holder can solve a Rubik's Cube. 6 seconds is how long it takes for an 18-wheeler traveling at a safe speed to come to a complete stop. And in those 6 seconds, that truck will travel the length of 2 football fields. So please, give them room. Never cut in front of a large truck for any reason. Our roads, our responsibility. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Who's in? The Duke Blue Devils head to Miami to face Malik Rozier and the Hurricanes. It's a primetime showdown at The Rock.
Rozier wants to throw again. Airs it out near left sideline. Caught! Touchdown Miami!
Miami, Duke, tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Presented by Goodyear.
Hey, y'all, we're taking the Marty Party to a whole new level with the Marty Smith's America podcast with Chipper Jones.
I was always comfortable in my own skin because I felt like if I went out and took care of my business, then I was the number one pick. The Braves were going to give me a chance to fail in the big leagues. And ultimately, that was my dream, was just to get to the big leagues. Now I had enough confidence in myself. Once I got to the big leagues, I knew I wasn't going anywhere.
The Marty Smith's America podcast on the ESPN app and Apple Podcasts.
Your source for sports in the Tularosa Basin is ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Lakers president Magic Johnson is getting a little impatient with his team. ESPN has learned Johnson was critical of head coach Luke Walton in a meeting on Tuesday. This could mean Walton's job security is in question. The Lakers are 3-5. They will play in Portland tomorrow night. Cavaliers forward Kevin Love had surgery today on his left foot that will hopefully correct ongoing problems. He'll be out for about 6 weeks. The Patriots and Packers will meet in Foxborough Sunday night. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers on the same field for only the second time as starters. NBC's Al Michaels.
So people are always saying, who's the better quarterback, blah, 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 all that stuff. But I look at it as, going to the theater, going to a concert or whatever, and just watching the two greatest of all time, not go head-to-head, but they're out there on the stage doing their thing.
Al Michaels on Golic and Wingo. ESPN's Buster Olney reports the Indians will listen to trade offers for some of their veteran players, including Corey Kluber, Carlos Carrasco, Edwin Encarnacion, and Jason Kipnis.
Dell Cinema technology makes whatever you love to watch even better with lifelike color, brilliant sound clarity, and uninterrupted streaming. Experience Dell Cinema technology on the XPS 13 laptop with an 8th Gen Intel Core processor. Call 800-BY-DELL to learn more. That's 800-BY-DELL.
Packers traveling to Foxborough to play the New England Patriots. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
Every single game like this is a story or a piece of what the legacy and the overall conversation is going to be.
Killed us the last time we played him, so he's a great player. He does everything well.
Phenomenal matchup. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers getting together.
The greatest versus the most talented.
If you love football, you got to watch this football game.
Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have only met once before in their career, and that was in 2014. Rodgers got the best of Brady at Lambeau Field. This could be the last time these two guys play each other, at least in the regular season. So let me ask you this. If this is the last time they are to meet, knowing that, who would you put your money on? The greatest of all time, or as many say, the most talented of all time? It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80, and on ESPN News. Hugh Jackson came on First Take a little bit earlier today. He was relieved of his duties, fired by the Cleveland Browns on Monday. By Friday, he was here in New York and ready to talk about what went down in Cleveland. So let me give you a little taste of what he had to say on, how about this? What's his biggest regret? If he could do one thing over in Cleveland over his tenure where he went 3-36-1, what's his biggest regret? Play it, Bubba, cut one.
In my mind, I got this job because I was an offensive coach. But when you go, 1-15 or 1-16, I think people forget that you still do know how to coach. And so at the time, we made a decision to move in a different direction, kind of let me be the CEO of the organization and bring in an offensive coordinator. When you look back at it now, I wish I would have kept doing what I was doing, what got me the job in the first place.
So Hugh Jackson's biggest regret was hiring Todd Haley. It was hiring an offensive coordinator this offseason and giving away what he thinks is his number one asset in the NFL, his ability to call plays and design offenses. I've got more Hugh Jackson sound, more things he had to say about Baker Mayfield, Todd Haley, and accountability that I'll be playing you throughout the show. But now we're joined by Bleacher Report NFL writer and draft scout Matt Miller on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Matt, before we were talking about Hugh Jackson on the show today, maybe I'm just being contrarian. I don't know. It is a natural instinct to some extent. But I kind of feel like everybody's selling out on John Gruden a little too early. It's obviously awful what's going on in Oakland right now, but the project was never intended to be a half-season project. Am I being unrealistically optimistic? Am I being, an ostrich sticking my head in the sand while the world's collapsing around the Raiders?
No, man. I think that it's fun to take shots at John Gruden, and everybody wants to, pile on the 10-year $100 million contract, and the fact that, it's like the Raiders, and it's a team that you either really you love or you hate. There's really no middle ground. But the reality of it is, we have to wait and see. He has a plan, and part of that plan is to blow things up and get rid of players that they don't feel like are part of the long-term plan, and try to use that to get draft picks where they could build this team. So, I know that nobody wants that in the Twitter, environment and talk radio environment of wait and see, but we really, truly have to wait and see, because they have 3 first-round picks. If they hit on those 3 picks, we're talking about a team that is really positioned well as a young team and a cheap team, so that now they can go out and be aggressive in free agency too.
Bleacher Report's NFL writer Matt Miller here on the Will Cain Show. Do you think Derek Carr is part of that long-term project for the Oakland Raiders?
I do, and I've been skeptical of that myself. Is he really a fit for what John Gruden likes to do? And it's tough to say, because a decade ago, the last time we saw Gruden coach, he always wanted the veteran guy. He didn't want to develop Chris Sims. He wanted to bring in, the old guys, the Brad Johnsons, guys that knew his terminology, understood his offense. So maybe that's one thing that he has changed in that time in the booth, where he's going to say, I have a pretty good quarterback who's won a lot of games for the Oakland Raiders. If we can just give him some help, maybe we can get back to that level. And, excuse me, they went all in, getting younger on the offensive line throughout the draft, getting rid of Amari Cooper, probably going to go younger at receiver in this upcoming offseason, whether that's a mixture of free agency or the draft. But it seems like now they have a chance to build an offense that probably better fits Derek Carr and what they want to do with his skill set.
NFL writer and draft scout Matt Miller here on the Will Cain Show. Thinking about the Raiders and whether or not they're tanking, whether or not Derek Carr is part of the project, or the Giants tanking, I immediately start thinking of Justin Herbert, the quarterback out of Oregon. Now, you evaluate draft prospects, and this guy right now, it looks like, Matt, is the #1 quarterback draft prospect for 2019. But compare him for me, if you will, to the guys we've seen come out in the past. I mean, if you're talking about tanking for Justin Herbert, are you talking about tanking for Carson Wentz, for Baker Mayfield? What level of quarterback is he?
No, I don't think he's to that level. I really don't. He's not on that. Andrew Luck, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield was a little bit of a different cat. A lot of people didn't think he should be the first pick, but obviously was, and is playing very well so far. I think he's probably more into that next tier of player where, in terms of grade, he's probably going to be more similar to Deshaun Watson, who was a guy that a lot of teams had questions about in terms of size and turnovers and coming out of the Clemson scheme. How well was he going to translate to the NFL? And Deshaun's played very well through his first, 2 seasons here. But I think with Herbert, there's going to be a lot of questions about, kind of the mental toughness of him. There's been, stories about, maybe he was crying in the when he was a freshman. And there was the story about Derek Carr where that maybe came out and the teammates lost respect for him. So it's something that you're going to have to dig into as an evaluator. I mean, just purely like football stuff, it's beautiful. I mean, he looks the part. It's like, throws a tight spiral. He's a big kid. He's 6'6", 245. He can move around a lot, make plays outside the pocket. But I think the questions are going to be about a guy who, does he have the mental toughness to go somewhere like the New York Giants, where you're going to have the largest media market in the country. All eyes are going to be on you. And like we've seen with the Jets, they wanted Sam Darnold because they wanted that kind of cool customer who's not going to let that pressure get to him. I think the Giants have to be smart about it as well. And well, Herbert, that's probably the biggest question about him right now.
I was talking about this earlier, Matt. Hugh Jackson came on First Take. I was on the show this morning. He talked about why he was let go in Cleveland, what went wrong with Todd Haley, and what he thinks of Baker Mayfield. He has an incredibly high opinion of Baker Mayfield. What is the environment that Baker Mayfield needs now? I mean, as a head coach or as an offensive coordinator, what do they need to do there to make sure that he pays off?
I think the big thing is to try to involve him in that situation. You have a very smart young quarterback who's played in, some systems at Oklahoma and at Texas Tech where we're starting to see a lot of those elements adapted into the NFL. So why not get him involved in the process and not come in there and not saying that Hugh Jackson or Todd Haley did this, but to not come in and have the big ego of, we've been in the NFL for 30 years. This is how we're going to do it. I think instead of, trying to incorporate Baker and say, all right, man, what worked at Oklahoma? What can we try? He had a great relationship with his tight end, Mark Andrews there. They were almost unstoppable. So I would look at the Browns and say, okay, we have David Njoku. What are some of the things you did at Oklahoma? How can we get this guy involved? What can we do to make you comfortable? And not to hand the team to a rookie quarterback, but if he's going to be your guy, I think you need a head coach and an offensive coordinator that are going to value that relationship and value the reason you took him number 1 overall was his football IQ and his leadership skills. So I think you got to back up a little bit and let the guy do what you drafted him to do.
All right, I got to run, Matt. Hey, one thing I didn't know about you that I've learned via Twitter, you're a Horns fan as well, right?
Yeah, it's tough right now, but I am, man. Yeah, through it all.
Sam Ehlinger, he's looking good, though, man. I know the loss and all that, but I'm so excited because while we have the losses, we also have a quarterback.
Exactly. For the first time in a long time, we have a quarterback. So I'm excited. This recruiting class that they're putting together right now looks pretty good, too. So hopefully we're on the way back. I'm excited for it.
All right, Matt. Thanks for jumping on with us today.
You bet, dude. Talk to you soon.
That's Bleacher Report's NFL writer and NFL draft scout Matt Miller on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. So Tim Tebow had some things to say about Maryland, but perhaps bigger than what's going on at the University of Maryland, he had some things to say about the way we make decisions in society today. And let me tell you something. You got to hear this from Tim Tebow. I'll play it for you next on The Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Tonight on SportsCenter, after PTI, why the pressure is mounting on Luke Walton to turn the Lakers season around immediately. Plus, LSU Alabama tomorrow, why history favors the underdog Tigers. And full coverage after the Dodgers Kershaw deadline. See you at 6 Eastern with Kevin Nagandi after PTI.
O'Reilly. When it comes to vehicle safety, having poor visibility is a risk not worth taking. Get set for this fall's weather by visiting your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store during the See Better, Drive Safer sale. You'll find deals on name brand headlights, wiper blades, and everything you need to see better and drive safer. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When a player doesn't like a contract, what do? They hold out? They hold out for a better deal. If only you could do that with your wireless plan, right? Well, with the Keep Your Own Phone plan from Straight Talk Wireless, you can get a much better deal. Keep your phone, your number, even your same network for a lot less than you're paying now, without the contract or the holdout.
Get the Ultimate Unlimited plan for just $55 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Video typically streams at DVD quality at 60 gigabytes. We reserve the right to review your account for usage in violation of Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Tonight's forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies. In Alamogordo, expect an overnight low of 43. For Cloudcroft, a low of 30. Tomorrow, we're looking at sunny and a little warmer during the daytime. In Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 70, low of 41. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 57 and an overnight low of 26.
There's an election next Tuesday for the U.S. Congress. And lucky for us, there's a different kind of candidate running this year. Her name is Xochitl Torres Small. She's the only candidate running this year who's not a politician. And you can really tell by what she stands for. Have a listen for yourself.
I've been all over southern New Mexico. And you know what I've learned? If we want to start solving problems again, we have to talk to each other. We have to work together. I believe good ideas don't come with a party label. I'll work with anyone, Republican, Democrat, Independent, anyone who wants to deliver for New Mexico. I'm Xochitl Torres Small. It would be an honor to have your vote next Tuesday.
This Tuesday, vote Xochitl Torres Small for Congress. You'll be glad you did.
I'm Xochitl Torres Small, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message. Paid for by Xochitl for New Mexico.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good. With a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Trey Wingo. Thanks for listening to ESPN Radio on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
Will Kane. The Will Kane Show is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
You remember, over the last 2 days, I've said whether or not DJ Durkin deserved to be fired at Maryland is one question, one debate. But why he was ultimately fired is an entire other equation. And that's the one I have trouble with. Why was DJ Durkin fired at the University of Maryland? Because of public outrage, because of public pressure. Not because the university or its investigators had found that he was responsible for the death of Jordan McNair. And that, bending to public pressure, bending to public will, even if it's right, I find weak. You stand by what you think is right. You stand by your principles. You stand by your decisions. And that's not what the University of Maryland did. Tim Tebow, this morning, was asked about the University of Maryland, what he thought of the situation. This is a little bit of a long cut, but I want you to listen to it because I thought Tebow was absolutely outstanding here on First Take. Listen.
I think these universities, when they make decisions, and you need to come together, you need to get all the facts, you need to look at it, you need to get all the decision makers in that room, and you need to make a decision, you need to stand with it. Because right now it shows like people are so afraid to have conviction, to believe in something when they make a decision that they're like, oh my goodness, social media is against us. We're going to fire him now. You just made a decision to keep him. Like, if that's your decision, if you believe that's what's right for the program, then it shouldn't matter what I say. It shouldn't matter what social media says. It shouldn't matter. But so many people, they want to be liked instead of being respected. And I think more universities need to stand by what they believe is right. I'm not saying their decision was right, but they need to have courage to say, you know what? I would rather be respected than liked. And too many people in our day and age, they just want to be liked and have all the social media. Listen, let me tell you something. Social media is never going to always like you. There's always going to be naysayers. But it changed the Tennessee job. It's changed this. Like, I want these presidents and ADs to stand up, and when you say something, have it mean something. Let's be men of our word and have character. When we say something, we believe in it, we have conviction. And it's just, I mean, people say something, oh, it's not popular, let me switch. Who cares about being popular? Have respect. Stand up for what you believe in.
Bravo, man. That's so good. That is so good. That's what I've been trying to say for 2 days. He said it eloquently in 1:17. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Whether or not the decision at the University of Maryland was right, they clearly put an investigative report into it and came to a decision, one that you would think they believed was right. So stand by it. No matter what happens in the next 24 hours, no matter how many blue check marks or Twitter heroes or people out there or politicians gather up against you. Stand by what you think is right. Otherwise, why don't you put everything up to a poll? And at that, a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram poll. Just put it up to a poll. We could all save a lot of money, by the way, on presidents' salaries, AD salaries, maybe even head coach salaries. We could just run it by bot. Run it by poll from now on. It's great. It's how we're doing everything else. A reminder that we're taking the Will Cain Show on the road, and we'll be live from Dallas and Phoenix next week, brought to you by Shell. First Take will be at Texas Live in Arlington on Monday morning before Cowboys-Titans Monday Night Football game. You can come, join, pack the house. There's a ton of seats. And doors open at 7 a.m. Central Time. Show starts at 9 a.m. Central Time. So during that segment, sort of a four-box when you're having these conversations on TV. It's Tebow and me and Stephen A. and Max. Apparently, the lunchroom, which includes our boys back in Bristol, Cerruti, Nuno, Bubba, you break out into a debate about not whether or not Tebow's making an incredibly eloquent point, but which one of us is the most metrosexual? Is that right? And it really came down to a race between two?
No, the topic was you would look more intimidating if you on that shot if you actually had a mustache. And then it became into the, you're probably the weakest link on that four box.
What? I swear to God, I would fist fight you right now if we weren't in separate
you keep
states.
talking so much.
Oh, you ready for this one? What does weakest link mean? I'm the weakest link. Go ahead, explain that.
You are the weakest link.
We're going to challenge you to another naked mud wrestling contest?
Yeah, I know, seriously. And by the way, that was great.
No, by the way. No, by the way. Explain yourself. What does weakest link mean?
You're the least intimidating guy on that panel.
You are the weakest link.
Like, if we're going to fight, I'm going at you first before I go at Tebow or Stephen A. or Max.
You want to fight me before you fight Max. Max has got you quaking in your boots more than me. That's what you want to tell me.
No one said quaking in my boots, but I'm probably going at you first anyway.
I mean, Nuno did bring up, like, Max, from New York, right? He used to be a rapper.
And a boxer.
Yeah. I mean,
you might be the scariest one. He's a legitimate boxer.
What have you done?
He's a boxer? I'm from Texas.
You are the weakest link.
Yeah, but you're from Texas, but you're kind of soft now. You've been in the Northeast too long. You're out in California.
You don't have a mustache.
I hate you, Nuno. Like, to my core. I'll tell you what.